Hello, Body Slams podcast viewers. I'm your host. Well, one of your hosts. Well, your analyst, or we like to say here, your analyst. I don't know. We have a twisted sense of humor on this show. I'm Chio Frost, and tonight we have a very special guest, Indy vet. Uh, as I want to say, he's a brother in arms. I've known this gentleman for a very, very long time. I could be showing my age here, which, if you can't already tell from the grays on my face. But before we get to him, I would like to give a shout out to my fellow co-hosts that are not here tonight, and that is my man, the bearded raven himself, Dennis Reaper, as well as our other affiliates who are on our morning show, which will be airing this Sunday live at 11 a.m. And that is the Better Bernard, the Saint Bernard, Mikey, also that image guy, Joey Image. And I want to give a shout out to our man Austin, who has been in hiatus. He's been hiding, but we will get him back on the show. And our shows, I don't know if I want to call him the godfather of Dev Row Sports. I don't know, maybe. Mr. Patrick Bernard, the gobbler. But speaking of Dev Row Sports, quick shout out for everyone out there. Please jump online, Facebook, at Dev Row Sports, and check out all of our shows Monday through Sunday. We got a show practically on every day of the week. We got the Sullivan Squad Mondays at 6 p.m. The Old School Show on Tuesdays at 6:30. The Combat Misfits at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays. Thursday Night Slam, which is bi-weekly, which is us right here at 9:05. The Scrapper Boys, like I said before many countless times, they are on hiatus, but they will be back soon enough. On Sundays, you got the Gobbler Inc. at 9 a.m., the Combat Misfits at 10 a.m., and Breakfast and Body Slams. That's us once again at 11 a.m. And don't forget about our pop-up pipe bombs. That can happen anytime, anywhere, with anyone. That's right. And a quick shout out to our affiliates out there. Everybody at the Tornado Tag Podcast, the 2300 Wrestling Podcast, Bob Culture Podcast, Backstabbers Wrestling Podcast, and all the way from Puerto Rico, Conversación de Lucha Libre. That's right. But without any further ado, I'm going to bring this man into the room. And if you don't know what this man looks like, I have a very special picture. Back then, when I met him, he was known as the Dark Angel, Flexx Wheeler. He was also called the Ladies' Man, Flexx Wheeler. He was called a lot of other names I can't say from the fans themselves, but we'll keep that on the back burner. We're going to try to keep this kid friendly, which that's never going to happen because this is live, this is internet, and things pop off. But without any further ado, my man, my brother in arms, I know him personally as well as a lot of the boys who were close to him. We called him Tate, but this is for you, the viewers out there, Flexx effing Wheeler. Hey, brother.
You can bring me out anytime you want, man. Just bring me out. I like that.
What was that a proper, like, got this old school photo of you?
That's an old one, bro. That's from 90. That's from 92.
No, well, yeah, it's back, but I didn't meet you until early 94, right before I turned, when I was still training before I turned 18.
Yeah.
And finally graduated and stuff, though. Man, how is it going up there in the Great White North? Because you look pretty warm right there. You got the tee on, unless you got that heat cranked up there.
No. It snowed up here today. My wife and I, we removed the snow. We didn't get more than about an inch or two, but it snowed today. It usually snows about every two weeks up here. So yeah. It's nice, man. I'm living I'm living my best life right now.
Yeah,
Honestly,
me,
living my best
I'm
life.
totally dreading it right now. I'm big time for when the snow hits, and for everyone knows who I knows that I got a bad back from a match. It just been accumulating over the years, and I just re tweaked it recently, lifting some rails, doing a rental. So yeah, I'm pretty much at the end of my game of lifting anything. So who knows what might happen in that aspect of rentals with me. But you know what? We're gonna get into you, the man, Tate,
Nah,
y- because we're not gonna jump into how we met because there was more of Flex Wheeler prior to us. So let's go back. And a lot of people hate this. A lot of people hate when we go way, way back. What got you into wrestling? Who's your favorite wrestler? Blah, blah, blah. All that happy, honky dory stuff. But we're gonna
right.
ask it anyway, though. Who were some of your inspirations that said, hey, I want to become a professional wrestler? Or wasn't even on the radar, was it?
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and the WWF and the NWA. Back then, it was the WWF and the NWA. They used to come through the Baltimore Civic Center. And I was a kid. I was about 9 years old, and my cousin Ducky. I had a my cousin. His name is Ducky. He was heavy in the professional wrestling. I hadn't even known anything about it yet, and he had 2 tickets. He won them off the radio, and he had 2 tickets, and he said, "You want to go?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, 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 I'll go." I didn't know. My mom was like, "Yeah, go with your cousin. Go ahead." So we caught the bus down to the Civic Center, Baltimore Civic Center, which is no longer there. Baltimore Civic Center been actually it's been gone since the late 80s. I think they closed that up either the late eight or the early 80s or the late 80s. But I went, and the first match, they have all the bum matches and stuff like that. And then the main events, it was a double main event. One was Andre the Giant, and dude, I've never seen a person like that in all my life. You hear about things and stuff like that, but you had to see it to believe it. And Andre, I can't even remember who he worked that night, but he destroyed him. And then the second match of the night was Bruno San Martino versus superstar Billy Graham.
Yeah, it's
And
yeah, I kind of I feel what you're saying because
mhm,
being as young as you are and you're trying to remember of these old school guys who you
yeah,
watch. That's like the same thing with me in Hamburg when my grandfather used to take me out to Hamburg and my uncle used to take me out to the Spectrum and stuff.
yeah,
You vaguely remember these bits and pieces, but when
right,
you got into it, the main stuff that hit you was the stuff you actually started seeing on TV on a regular
right,
basis.
right. So yeah, actually Superstar had the strap at that time, and Bruno was trying to get it back. He lost that match against Superstar by disqualification. So we're going home. My cousin and I were going home, and he was like, "What did you think?" I'm like, "Man, that was the greatest thing I ever seen in all my life." So I was bit. You get bitten. I was
Mhm.
bitten at that point. I was totally bitten, and I would get up in the mornings on Saturday morning because in Baltimore it came on two channels in the morning. On channel 20 UHF, that was the bottom crank
Yeah,
on your TV back in the
I
day.
remember that.
So it was old UHF, and it came on channel 20,
I'm trying to
and then
fix the
it came
rabbit ears. You're like,
right,
bang on
and
it.
in the afternoons it came on uh at
Oh, we got Joey Amos chiming in right there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, get on the horn, Joey. Get on the horn, brother. Yeah, it came on channel 45 in Baltimore, and that was the WWF, and it was the NWA. So I got to I would watch wrestling until my eyes bled, but it didn't come on a lot. And back then, you only got it on Saturdays. That was it, and they would when you get into the business now, you know how to set up matches. Dude, that was old school setting up matches. Ring outside the ring, doing an interview. A guy will come in and he'll talk crap, and then another guy will talk crap, and that was the best type of old school wrestling I ever
You know
seen in my
what's
life.
funny that you brought that up about the interviews being done outside the ring on the floor? I actually did that up in for Grand Slam Wrestling. I was a manager and I cut the promo where I like, you know what? I'm not gonna do the promo here. I'm gonna do it right there in front of her because this is how they did it in the old school ways. And all you
Right.
people behind me, all you is just a backdrop and this and that. That's all you are, just extras, this and that. And I did it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a
And
lot of people
and
ain't familiar with that type of scenery though.
and I think that's what's lacking in today's pro wrestling, in today's the business. The WWE doesn't do it. It's just a lacking. uh to me, the way I was taught is that you bring the fans into the business. You bring them into it because they pay their hard-earned money for entertainment. And if you want them to come back, you have to give them something and involve them into it. They don't just want to sit in the seats. They want to be involved. I'm not saying get in the ring. I'm not saying throw popcorn and stuff like that at people and chairs and stuff. I'm just talking about old school. If I'm in the ring, I stop beating on you and I look at the crowd and say, hey, you right over there. Yeah, you fat boy. I'm talking to you. Look at you. You're looking like a big, disgusting fat body. See, you got to do stuff
See,
like that.
see, me and you come from the same old school type of way of learning. Like I was always just like the way you were saying about interacting with the fans, because when you do less in the ring, one, you save on your body,
Absolutely.
but all that other stuff adds to the match though too. Oh, all you're doing is yelling at the crowd. Yeah, but they're interacting. Like when I'm out there, I'm yelling at that little old lady, whatever.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
or I'm hitting on the or I'm hitting on
Right.
the little old lady with the gray hair. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I know you. I'm like, and she could have a hot daughter or granddaughter sitting next to her. I'm going after the old lady though. That definitely, like, you want me,
Absolutely.
baby. That this and that.
And
And then you had those haha moments.
honestly, when I came up in the business, African American wrestlers weren't supposed to do that. We weren't supposed to what can I say, like involve ourselves with the women, anything like that, because that wasn't your mystique. They didn't want that to be part of your gimmick. I'm gonna tell you that picture you showed in 91, I flipped the script. 91, 92, I flipped the script. You could see through my gimmick there. I tried to flip the script, man. Me myself, I wasn't going to be the stereotypical gangster rapper, uh, whatever you want to
But
call it.
but back then, for being a African American wrestler,
Mhm.
the gangster stereotype wasn't there until New
Right,
Jack and Mustafa was doing
right.
that kind of stuff. Other than that, it was just like, okay, uh, you're either a big guy, a brick shit house guy, someone like as far
Or
as like
Shucker and Jiver, because you remember
someone, yeah,
Iceman Parsons was like that.
yes, yeah,
They had,
junkyard dog,
yeah, they
yeah,
had guys like that. They want you to do. I had a promoter one time say, "Oh, you should do headbutts. We want you to do it for what?
It'd
You
be like a
know,
Coco Beware.
yeah. They wanted me to do headbutts. They wanted me to wear loud colors and stuff like that. And I flipped the script. I was the one who I know I could have had more work. One, I was still in the military. That's another story. But two, I would never demean myself. I didn't want to demean myself or demean my people, and it was like, you know what? If that guy can do it, why can't I do it? And I'm going to push that envelope until somebody tells me, you know what, we're not going to book you anymore. So, okay, you don't book me anymore. And then I go somewhere else because back then, dude, you could look around the corner and there was another Fed, there was another Indy Fed, especially in Pennsylvania,
And and the
North
thing
Carolina,
and the
Jersey. There was a lot of other indie feds. So it didn't bother me to not get a booking from somebody because I might have rubbed that promoter the wrong way. I just get another booking somewhere else.
and the thing back then coming up, like I said, I'm steadily gonna go back to the whole being African American at that time. There was there was a lot around, but not as much as it is today.
Today,
Now today
absolutely.
you got people of Latin culture,
Yep.
Samoan culture,
Yep.
whatever, a
Bro,
lot of African.
there was
But
more
back then,
Samoans than there were African Americans.
so
You
people
know,
would look at you as a role model because
mhm.
you are one. Okay, yes, there was a lot around that we could name, but not as much as predominantly it back then was majority of white uh sports. And like they never really wanted to put the title on an African American.
No,
Like there was some here and there on small indies if you look
right.
around, like
Ron's,
Iceman and
right,
Brick and Brickhouse Brown,
right.
guys like that in
And
certain
Iceman
feds.
Parsons was technically the first heavyweight world champion in professional wrestling with the WCCW. He held the heavyweight championship,
Mm.
but it wasn't really pushed out there. It wasn't it wasn't a person like when Ron did it. Ron did it in the gimmick of a face. He
And he
was a
was on the
face.
main stage
Yeah,
though
and he
too.
was
That's
on the main
why.
stage. And if it wasn't for Dusty, he wouldn't have never got that shot.
Mm.
Dusty pushed him to get that
Eh,
shot.
Yeah,
It-
for that there, we wouldn't even seen Booker T get it as well
nope,
when he
nope.
got it.
Right.
I was shocked that they gave it to Booker T. I thought he was going to be in the tag team scene or on the lower mid card section the whole time he was there.
Well, African Americans, Latinos, Samoans, our talent had to transcend the
Mm.
gimmick. We had to actually either be so well of a face that we put asses in the seats, or
Mm.
so well as a heel that we put asses in the seats. As long as we're putting asses in the seats, you can't deny the talent. And you have to, a promoter has to do that if he's all about business. If he's all about business and making money, then he's going to do that.
Yeah, and one of the good things you brought up about uh you're breaking that barrier of that stereotype, like how you mentioned the Samoans. As you look nowadays, no one's really doing the whole crazy wild Samoan
Mm-mm,
type thing.
mm-mm.
Like, no, they're like, hey, look, we're actually real people.
We're
You
real
know,
people.
we have a mouth. We can speak. We know we got words, and it's gonna be words you might not like to hear. And that
Right.
goes across the board for everyone else too as well.
But
Uh
But like I said, if a promoter wants to put asses in the seats and he wants to make money, he has to stop looking outside of who's in the locker room talking to him, and he's got to look at his bottom line. The bottom line is in our business is making money, or no one works. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
If the promoter can't put up the money to run a revenue, and I'm not helping him with what I got as a gimmick to bring in revenue, then it doesn't work and nobody's working. And
Yeah, I know earlier you mentioned I'm sorry for if
no,
I
no,
cut
no,
you
no,
off.
no, 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 no,
I
good.
know you mentioned about being in the military. Now,
Mhm.
was this before you got that started training, or is this during at the same time.
during all at the same
Okay.
time, Dave.
All right.
And I had to keep it secret.
Oh,
I
from them.
Yes, from them, because when you're GI, that means government property. You're government inspected. Your government. That's what GI means. You're government inspected. So you belong to them. You don't. You're not an entity unto yourself. If I would have
So.
gotten hurt,
Mhm.
that could have got me in serious trouble. And there was times that I'm looking at a booking and I'm saying, shit, I can't get hurt on this booking because I got to be back Monday in formation at first formation money, and I better not be limping or anything like that, because I gotta tell my troops, yo, we going on a 5 mile run. And if I'm out there limping or I got to go to first aid or something like that, I'm messed up. So it was a long period of time that I was in the military and I was wrestling at the same time. One thing I can say about professional wrestling with me is that it started out for me just a dream. It was a dream that I fulfilled. That I always wanted to be a professional wrestler from the first time I ever saw it. I never thought I would have that chance because I'm only 5'5". I wasn't a big dude. I worked out. Yeah, you've seen I worked out and everything like that. But yeah, I wasn't a role warrior big. I wasn't a
No,
Sting
no,
big. I wasn't even
no,
Bruno San Martino
no.
big.
You were pretty well
But
put
but
together, and you
but I
still
was
look
put
good right
together.
now.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
yeah. I'm.
55 years old here. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying
You,
to keep my shit.
you look.
I'm
You're
trying to
looking.
keep
You're
it.
looking a lot better than me. I'll tell you that
No,
much.
no, no, no.
I like.
That's because I had a heart attack 6 years ago too. So I got to keep myself in some kind of semblance
Yeah,
of shape.
and I
But
think one of the things that probably helped you out in your wrestling career was the military, because you were constantly doing calisthenics and everything. You're always keeping yourself in top
always
physical shape.
always try to keep myself in shape, and I always tend to tell that to other pro wrestlers. Dude, I don't care how many spots this, that, and the other. If you're not in shape, if you didn't invest in yourself to project yourself better than what that dude who's sitting in the chair, his what you want. My whole thing was I want somebody's girlfriend or wife to look at me and say, what the fuck am I doing with this guy? I'm serious. I'm serious, because that's how you have to sell yourself in the business. The business in professional wrestling, if you're not investing in yourself, you're not in the business. You're really not. It's just it's a hobby, it's a fad, it's something that you shouldn't be wasting your time with, because first of all, you get in the ring with me, I'm depending on you to take care of me, and you're doing the same thing. If your mind is not into the craft, then you go it could be a bad thing. And I've had that happen to me 3 times in this business, where somebody didn't take care of me. You know what I mean? They didn't take care of me. So this business is based on knowing your craft, studying your craft, practicing your craft, and investing in yourself. If you don't do that, don't be in this business. Because guess what? The business don't love you. You
Mm.
have to love the business. And I said that when I got placed in the Hall of Fame at ACWF. I told the people, I say, this is a business that I love, but didn't love me back. And that's what it is. Because no, everybody, you got people who are waiting to take your spot. You got
Mhm.
people. I got a 10-year-old right now. Not myself, not me as with a 10-year-old, but there's 10-year-old, there's a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old right now who looking to get into the business. And you're not the business. The business will continue to roll after you have gone. So I've always said, I just want to put my mark on the business. And if I can leave out of the business, leave a mark on the business, and leave out of the business with people with some good memories of me, even if they got bad memories of me, you know what? I can't help what other people think. All I can do is say, look, I gave to the business and I left a mark, and I hope I left a pretty good mark on the business.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest marks on the business that I like myself, like I know I'm not gonna say I'm successful as far as being somewhere major or anything like that, or I haven't been anywhere, but I am successful in the part that where I give back the knowledge to a lot of the younger talent, and there's several that I seen go on to do something with themselves, and they still stay in contact with me to this day, and that's a blessing. And the fact that a lot of people seem to flock to me out of a good nature, I guess, because they get
It's out
good.
of respect, bro.
uh,
It's out of
they're-
respect
well,
because you've
I
got
get
you
those positive vibes too as well. I
right,
get those
right.
positive vibes. I try
You,
to.
Dave, one thing I can say about you is you one of the best locker room dudes I ever seen in the business.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One of the if not the best, one of the top three in indie history that I've been in since I've been in the business. And I'm no longer in the business. I'm not a worker anymore, guys. I don't do this thing no more. There's a long story of why I won't, but only thing I can say is my man Dave is one of the best locker room guys that I've ever seen in the business.
Yeah, you gotta stop, man. You're gonna make me start tearing up over
you
here.
can
It's
you
all
can
it's
tear
all
up all you
it's,
want because I
it's
remember
all-
calling. I
uh,
remember starting a Fed when I used to live in Bensalem, PA, and
yeah.
I called you up and I said, yeah, and you, Dave, dropped everything. He said, I got you.
Mhm.
He dropped everything, just started doing all this work and stuff. I'm like, whoa, 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 slow down, youngin. you know, and that's one thing
What?
about Dave
Yeah,
is
because when I get
Dave
my
has a love
mindset
for
to
that.
something,
Absolutely.
I go all in, or I don't go at all. Like, and there's people who will, uh, like start questioning my decisions, like, oh well, shouldn't this be like this? And I start getting frustrated. And my cousin be like telling everyone, leave him alone. He's in his space.
Right.
I focus. I have a set thing, and when people start trying to penetrate my barrier of my
Mhm.
train of thought, I'm like, I have certain things set up a certain way, and if something doesn't go right,
It takes you out your game. It take
I have to no, it doesn't take me out. I have to
re-
reformulate and
recalibrate.
yeah, that too. Regroup, however you want to
right,
call
right,
it.
right, right.
And like I don't let shit fall apart. I make shit happen.
There
Yeah,
you
like
go.
yeah.
Right.
Um
You'd have been a good soldier.
yeah,
You'd have been a good soldier.
yeah,
You'd have been a good soldier.
a lot of places I work with, I try to be the good soldier the best that I can. Some places don't love me back the way I would show love to them.
Mhm.
And then there's times where I have to walk away, or there's times where I start pulling myself away from companies and they start questioning, oh, well, what's up your ass? Like, what's going on with you? You're not
Mhm.
active with us no more. You're not
Mhm.
involved. I'm like, well, I don't feel that love. I don't feel that connection. It's just like,
Right,
I'm like, why should I stay if it's not going to be given back?
right.
Um,
And another thing, because you asked me what got me into it, is just being in Baltimore. I was on leave, on like a 30-day leave from the military, and I was visiting my parents. And my I'm looking in the paper, and there was a wrestling federation called Win Wrestling,
I think I heard of them.
and they were throwing a show. So I say, you know what, let me go check this out. This was actually the first indie show I ever saw, because all I knew was WWF and not, it wasn't even a WWE yet. It was still just WWF, WCW, and NWA. I knew nothing AWA. I knew nothing about any other in any indie feds. So I go to the show, and the guys put on a great show. So I walked to the bathroom. I actually took my dad with me, and because he enjoys professional wrestling too. So I take my dad. We watch the wrestling. The guys, like I said, they put on a great show. And I went into the bathroom, and as I'm going to the bathroom, a wrestler walks in, and his name was the Bounty Hunter. And he looks at me, and he says, "Dude," he says, "You a worker?" And just like that, and I go, "Worker? No, I because I don't even know, the lingo back then. I
What the
didn't.
hell does that mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I go
like,
to
nah.
work every day.
He says, "No," he says, "You got a nice build." He says, "You ever thought about professional wrestling?" I said, "Have I thought about it?" I said, "I wouldn't be here if I didn't think about professional wrestling." I said, he says, "No, I mean training to be a professional wrestler." And I said, "Oh, I'm in the military right now." I said, "I can't do that." He says, "Look," he gave me his card. He had a fanny pack, right in his front.
Who doesn't have one? I got one. I'm
So
sure you got one around the house.
no, I had never had a fanny pack, brother. Never had a fanny
Okay,
pack.
whattever.
There's bad things that hang in fanny packs, brother. Bad things are in fanny packs. So he gives me his card, and his the Circus Asylum in what is it? Was it Allen? Not Allenton, in Reading, PA.
What was it?
Circus Asylum
In Reading, PA?
in Reading, PA. In Reading.
That
No,
must
no,
be
I'm sorry. In York. In York,
okay,
PA.
York.
In
Okay,
York, PA.
that's where like towards Dirty D's there and Wise out that
Right,
way.
right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just a little bit up, actually
Because D's was in Red Lion, I
about
believe.
15 miles away from the the Maryland Baltimore border. It was
Gotcha. Okay.
right. It
All
was
right.
right up that end. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. But before then, there's another little something. In 1990, I was on leave. My ex-wife back then, she lived uh, in Pennsylvania. So, but up in the mountains of Pennsylvania, near Shamokin and Frackville.
The nice neighborhood.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
little country neighborhood.
where guys like us really fit in.
Oh, I fit in really well up there.
Yeah.
Anytime I came to town, they knew I was there. But yeah, I went and was looking in the paper because I was thinking about being a professional wrestler because I used to make professional wrestling matches when I used to buy the rags. I used to buy the rags and I would pick wrestlers out of the rags, workers out of the rags, and make matches.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I was 21 years old, 21, 22 years old doing that. And, I used to have a little fun with that. So I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. So I'm looking in the yellow pages one day for professional wrestling schools, and Alpha's old place up in
It was in Whitehall at the time, I believe.
yeah,
It's right by Allentown, but
Whitehall, PA. His was up there. So I go up and I drive up there one day and I walk in and his pops was there, Samu was there. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Sika was there too. If I might be wrong, but I know Pops was there because as soon as I walked in the door, he was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" He's going nuts. Oh my god, oh my god! Hey guys, come look at this guy. Come look at this guy. So I had a tank top on, and he's like, "Oh my god, look at this guy!" And he brings out a Polaroid. He's taking pictures of me. He says, "Oh my god, the things I could do with this guy! I can do a whole lot of things. This guy's the next guy. He's the next guy." So I'm like, "Oh wow, this is great," blah blah blah. But I'm being worked because he's talking to me. He talked to me for a good half an hour. And he says, "Okay." He says, "Let's talk money." I said, "Yeah, let's talk money. How much is it?" He says, $5,000. I said, "No, thank you." I said, "I'm in the military. I can't give 100% to this anyway at this time." The trainer, because he wanted me to come every day. And dude, I got in their ring. he says, I want to see if you could do a drop kick. Can you do a drop kick? And I think Sam got in and he showed me how to do a drop kick. And I did the drop kick and I hit that fucking ring, dude. They had an old boxing, they had no spring, no
his
nothing.
Pops's ring was called the cement ring. That's
That thing almost broke my ribs. I'm like, oh my fucking God. He said, oh, you're a natural. He says, you're such a natural. He says, you get $5,000, you come back and see me. So that was that. But I'm glad I ran into the bounty hunter. His actual name is Phil Liedermeyer. And I was actually trained by Phil Liedermeyer, the Wolfman.
the Wolfman, Wolfie.
Wolfie.
Oh my God. I did not know that. That's
Phil
okay.
Liedermeyer, Wolfie, Quinn Nash, and Adam Flash.
Wow, that's two other names that I was gonna bring up along the way. Quinn and Adam. Oh my
Yep.
God.
They were my first trainers, and actually Quinn and Adam were still training, but they were way more advanced than I was. So they helped with my training, with my conditioning, how to run ropes. I did Hindus until I threw up. A lot of the old shit.
Yeah.
Phil actually made me carry around a notebook. I had to write down things in a notebook. I had to write down all the terminology. This is stuff that I when I see guys,
Before the wrestling dictionary actually came out online, you know.
dude, this was before I even got in the ring. I couldn't get in the ring. They wouldn't let me in the ring until 2 months of training. 2 months. They told me, don't even look at the ring. Don't even look at it. Go lift those weights. Go do those Hindus. Go run around the building. Come back. Show me if you can lock up. Phil would just do it out of nowhere. He'd say, lock up. And you have to lock up. And he want to see your form. Keep your chin up. Keep your head up because the people have to see your face. They have to see your facial expressions. It was all,
And you know what? I see so many guys like even now, like even fuck up a lockup real quick. Like they'll go to lock up, they'll poke you in the eye.
mm-hmm.
They'll go to lock up and you'll catch like the top of their head because they're looking down right in your nose or your teeth,
Yep.
whatever. Is like, yo, I'm like, it's ridiculous. Like I had my kids and my grandkids, I had them learning to lock up when they're little. I'm like, keep doing just that over and over again. Just lock up. That's it. Over, stop, let go, lock up. Stop, let go, lock up. That's all you're allowed to do.
That's all you're allowed to do. So I can't. I had to go away because I went out on a deployment. I had to go to Saudi Arabia. Went out on a deployment. Came back, and Phil was upset because he was like, "You was on a natural. You were doing so good." He says, "We." And then I told him that I was in the military, and he was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I forgot you told me that." And then Wolfman didn't want to train me anymore because he was scared of me. Wolfman was like, "Are you all right in the brain? Everything." I said, "I'm not a Vietnam vet, dude. I'm good." He says, "You good in the brain?" I was like, "I'm good. You ain't gotta worry about me."
I know the other night when we spoke, I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again for everyone listening, everyone else out there who is part of is or was part of the military. I'm sure they all would like to humbly thank you for serving our country and doing doing what you had to do, and you got home safe.
That was my number one goal, coming home.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
That's everyone's goal, just to get home.
That's my number one goal, was coming home. Mission first, but I'm coming home. I'm letting you know that I'm coming home. But yeah, my first match ever, I wore a pair of tennis shoes because I didn't have workers boots yet. I had a pair of tennis shoes on at a summer camp in Maryland. Phil had got requisitioned to do a summer camp, and the wrestlers came out, and we did 4 matches, and I did a tag team with Quinn Nash. It was he and I together against some dude called the Sailor and some other dude, and we beat their ass. And I swear to God, Phil was like looking at me, and he's shaking his head, and he has this big smile on his face. And as I'm walking back to where we was getting out, he said, Black Hulk Hogan. Black Hulk Hogan. He said, you had him eating out of your hands. You had him eating out of your hand.
now, now from that experience there, you got to paint the picture. You got to put us in that mindset. You, if you can remember that far back, sir, I'm gonna
No,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
be
that.
I'm gonna
I'm
be
not that
nice.
concussed. I'm not that concussed.
I'm trying to be nice about it. Your mindset when he dropped the bomb on you, saying, "Hey, we're gonna put you in your first match." Like your mindset when he finally told you that, and then the day when you're getting ready to go through the curtain, or you said it was an outdoor show, or come
Yeah.
from behind the truck, or whatever it was
Yeah,
you were changing.
we were in a cabin, and we had to
Okay.
come because they gave us a cabin so we can change our clothes and stuff
Okay.
like that. You had to come out of the door of the cabin.
Uh,
We had music and everything like that.
so
And go ahead, go ahead.
so how was mentally when he dropped the bomb that you were having a match, and then take us to when you're getting ready to go to the ring.
I think when I can tell you, I know this for a fact about me. When he told me that I was having my first match, it was like shit. Hey, it's like wow. I mean, but he told me it's not going to be a singles. He said you're going to be with one of the vets, and that was Quinn. He says listen to everything that he tells you, so you're like, I don't want to let this guy down. One, two, I want to do the best that I can. Three, where's a bucket I want to throw up? Okay, because that was honest. That's as honest as you can get. And me, the kind of person that I am, I want to practice everything, and I get guys that practice every single move that they do in the ring. But if you don't know how to improvise, you're not a worker. I'm just gonna let you know that now. You're a
True
spot
that.
monkey, and I'll call anybody in this business who does nothing but spot monkeys. And everything you can see is choreographed, and I can pick everything that you're
I
doing.
I
And
like calling things in the ring on the fly.
and if you
That's just
don't,
me.
right, if you don't know how to do that, then you're no good for the business
Be-
because you're not going to keep asses in the seats. Everything is predictable. No matter how many matches you do, the people are going to see the same shit that you've done.
Yeah.
They're going to see it. And I know I may be hurting people's feelings out there. I'm making people mad, but that's how I feel. My opinion means crap in this business, but my thing is you got to change it up. You got to be able to do something on the fly. If you messed up a move, can you go off a script and do something else? Say I kicked you too hard in the nuts and you yelled tater to me. If you yell tater to me, I know what to do from there. I'm not going to go to the next spot. I'm shucking you out of the ring, telling it and distracting the referee, getting all in his face
Mm-hmm.
so that you can get your shit together to get back in the ring and we can continue. Then even in the lockup, I'm gonna lock up with you, and then I'm gonna ask you, you good? You
It's
know,
like it's like a lot of times not nowadays you look and it's like nobody believes in rest spots anymore. Rest holds or anything like whether it be a chin lock or just when you give someone a simple arm drag and you put your knee on their side just to hold them there in the spot and be like, okay, all right, just
and
take a break, take a breather.
and do you
Let's
know
just
where that comes from, Dave? They let the marks, they let the asses in the seats dictate their matches because they think that
they gotta go
they got
go.
to go to keep the asses in the seats on with them. Most of the asses in the seats in some of their matches anyway are family and friends, so
Mm-hmm.
that they sold tickets to and that they're out there watching them. They've never been in an arena where
Yeah.
you are you haven't sold one ticket but what your name did. They have
Yeah.
never been in an arena where it's 3,000 people, and I've literally been in an arena in Mifflin, PA, where it was 3,000 people in a high school gym.
I
3,000.
I think the most I probably had to work in front of was, oh my god, it's a tough choice here. It's like I worked for Pops, and it was
Mhm.
like almost 1,000 people up in
Right.
like
And
in the Tamaqua area. But
oh,
then, but
Kamakwa.
but
Yes.
but then
Big
in
wrestling fans up
but
there.
in Reading, uh, I was in front of at the Reading Stadium, and the bleachers in the stadium,
Mhm.
from one side, I don't know, I can't keep count because it was only one side of the field they were using, but still it packs a whole shitload of people though. So I
Right.
can't tell what was the bigger one that I worked in front of. But I get what you're saying though. When you're out there working in these big crowds, and not like how sometimes they say, hey, go out there. I don't care if you're working in front of 5 people, you pretend that's 1,000,000 people or 1,000 people,
Mhm.
whatever. It's
Mhm.
not the I'm like, yes, it's a good mindset to think, because you want to go out there and put that work in, but at the same time, you don't get that same energy given back to you when the
Right.
people
Right.
ain't there though.
Right.
It's a give and take. It's a give and take.
Dave, I've worked at shows. This is how old school it is. How old school I am. I've worked in shows where I was either the first or third match. Promoter will walk up to you and say, "Don't bring down the house. Don't you kill my main event. If you kill my main event, you'll never work here again."
You know what's funny though?
And you don't see
And
that anymore. You don't see that anymore.
you know what that kind of remind me of is working with Dirty D's Darren Wise.
Hmm.
I could not understand when I worked for him. He liked putting me on in the opening match, and I'm fresh in
Hmm.
the business. I'm like, but at the same time, I had a couple, sometime a little bit prior to get my first match, a couple years prior of
Right.
just training before I had my first match. But I was good though. I was good because I had that X amount of years of training.
Right.
So he pulls me to the side. He says, "Look, you are my Johnny Rods." I didn't understand what the hell he was meant by that. I'm like, "Look, Johnny." He's explained to me, Johnny Rods, guy out there. He's the mid Carter guy. He's making the bigger guys shine. He's still going over on the new guys, the jobbers, but then yet those guys in the middle, he can have a nice little battle. But
Hmm.
but just like the way he was describing to me, just like you said before, and other people said, where they commented, where they said I'm one of the best bumpers in the business, because that's all I did. I bumped my ass off back
Yes,
then,
you did. Yes, you did.
and 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 that's one of the reasons why he kept putting me in the opening match, because I got I got over on my bumping ability, and I made other guys look really, really fucking good.
Hmm.
And he always wanted the opening match to be strong, so then the rest of the card can have something to adjust to the way to
Right.
flow to bring the crowd up and down
Yep.
as it goes on. So I didn't understand that until he pulled me to the side and broke it down to me. And I appreciate him for that. I appreciate for the comments that you gave me before in the past about about my bumping ability. I thought, hey, I'm just bumping, I'm just jobbing, whatever.
Right.
No, and then when everyone pulls me to the side and starts talking to me and explaining it to me, you are doing the right job, and that's what it is, the job,
It's a
where
job.
I'm making them look good.
Yeah, and today's work, today's wrestling, whatever you want to. I might be that old head curmudgeon. You can call me that old head curmudgeon who's sitting on the porch telling kids to get off his grass, or whatever you want to call me, because I'm old and I'm old school. But I still feel that you hurt the business when you got a bunch of spot monkeys out there just killing the heat all throughout the show. They're doing everything and they're stealing the heat and they're
And
killing the
they're
heat and they
kicking out of
just
every move, every
right.
finisher.
and they killed the main event. You killed the main event, Dave. When I was in the business, when I came up in the business, I worked with Jim Neidhart, Damian Demento, uh, Coco Beware, uh,
A
Barry
lot of
Windham, Barry
a
Windham,
lot of those names that once
Big
was,
Boss Man,
but
right?
but
No,
they were doing the indie.
they were still in British Bulldog. They were in transition because back in the day, guys don't know this because they look at the other stuff, and I don't use Smart Mark and Smark and all that stuff, but guys who read the rags today and they read everything online or whatever they're doing, today's wrestling is not like it was in yesteryear. The guys used to be able to go from fed to fed to fed to fed to fed. They could go to another fed. There might have been, WWE has always been, you can't work for another fed for a certain amount of time. They've always had that clause. But in other feds, they were like, you know what? We don't care. You can jump right over.
And you know what's funny though? When you were mentioning some of those names, when we met up at the time over at Body Slams, the original Body Slams, when it
Mhm.
was there, uh, a lot of talent that was coming in was still working for Vince,
They were
and
still
and
working for
and
Vince.
and they would call up to the office,
Yep.
like, and be like, "Hey, who do you have available that can, that you're not using right now, that can come down and work our
Yep.
shows?" Even though they got them under contract, but they don't have nothing for them on TV. So we had guys like
I
Hacksaw
worked.
Jim Duggan. We had
Yep.
Papa Shango
I
and
worked
so
with
a bunch of
three
others.
promoters. I worked with three promoters who worked with names. Those guys back in the day were called names. Uh, Dirty D's Darren Wise was one. Uh, uh, Dino Santa
Yep, yep.
was another, and Dennis Carluzzo was
Yes,
another.
Dennis.
I worked for those three guys, and they always had a name, maybe two or three on a card that the guys were working. They might have left the WWF or the WWE, and well, it was WWF, and they were going into transition, and they were still in the contract, but they couldn't work for somebody else. But they went straight to the indies because they wanted that extra money. Some of those guys just wanted to keep bumping. You
Yeah.
want to keep your body bumping. So they would call a Dennis, or Dennis would call them, dude, I heard you're available. Can you come in? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I give you $300. I give you $600. This is how guys.
And
These
it worked out great, especially like
absolutely.
especially when a lot of talent at the time lived up in the Northeast section,
Yep.
whether Jersey, Maryland,
Yep.
Virginia, when
Yep.
they're up in this area, it worked out great for them then.
Worked out wonderfully. And when you're young, I was okay. When I say a young wrestler, I was a greenhorn in the business, but I was still an adult. I was uh way into pro wrestling. I mean, in age, because I was already 25, 26 years old. So one thing I'm going to tell you, if any wrestlers out there, aspiring wrestlers, uh, aspiring workers, people who want to get into the business, people who are in the business, if you haven't made it to the big boys now, you ain't gonna. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. Like I said, I don't. This is an interview. I'm gonna be as frank and as truthful as I can possibly be with you. If you haven't made it because of your name or who you know, your video, or because back in the day we used to have to send videos. Remember, you had to send a video up. If if it haven't gotten you over and they haven't send you to a training camp or anything, you can go ahead and forget it. You can forget it, and stay in your lane. Work what you know you can work. I never aspired to be in the big boys. If it happened, uh, I would say thank you, Jesus, because I would have loved to be there. but it didn't. And I was actually happy because I was still in the military, because no one would have been able to give me a contract and say, dude, we want you to come up here. You want you to travel around. Quinn Nash and Adam Flash, they went down to the WCW
Mhm.
and worked matches for the WCW. They were jobbers. They did
Yep.
jobs. They did jobs and made, but they had an end. They had an end to go to be on a card with those cats,
You,
and they earned a
when
lot.
when you mentioned both of them going down to WCW, I remember that specifically,
Hmm.
and and I remember the main guy that I would see on WCW all the time, all the time, none other than Playboy Bobby Starr,
Yep.
Bob
That-
Starr.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
speak too much about Bob, but
yeah,
he was down there.
yeah. He was down there a lot.
He was down there a lot. Maryland wrestling, back in the day, it was called MEWF.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember I'm not, like I said, I don't talk bad about anybody in the business. If I don't talk bad about you and I don't mention your name, that means I don't give a shit about you. But Bob Starr, Bobby Starr, brought me down into my hometown. Hey, Flex, this is you build relationships in pro wrestling where guys hear about you in the locker room, guys hear about you uh, even off the street. They say, I heard about this kid, yada yada. Yeah. Let's bring him in. Let's give him a shot. Back then, it was like that. You didn't have to. I didn't have to start my own fed to get myself over. I know a lot of guys, a
Damn it.
lot of guys that started feds just to get themselves over,
Mm-hmm.
just to get themselves over because they
I
felt
can't get a book and I need to start my own
I
Fed.
got to start my own fed, and spending thousands and thousands of dollars to get a license or to do whatever they had to do to get a ring or whatever they had to do. They paying another promoter to do a show for them, stuff like that, man. I've seen a lot of dirt in this business that got me so upset that I still, you step away for a little bit and then you
Yeah.
come back and then you see the dirty again and you don't want to get dirty. I never wanted to be dirty in this business. I never wanted to tell a guy, dude, you're trash, you're this, you're that, killing another worker's gimmick or killing another worker's work in the ring or something like that. I was taught by beautiful, beautiful guys like the Patriot, like Tom Brandy. Tom Brandy, man, when I talk about Tom, I want to cry sometimes, man.
Yeah, I
You can
love
hear
that
me,
man. He's
you can
still
hear me
going.
cracking that. He's still going. And Tom was the one dude that was like, when I met him in the locker room, Tom was like, man, just talking to me and telling me about the business and telling me where to go and who to see and Tom Brandy, uh
Yeah, don't say Brady.
not Brady. I hate Brady, but Tom Brandy, man, I hold that dude in the reverence that he deserves because he was one of the most priceless, beautiful dudes in the business, man. Just a great dude in the locker room. I don't care what he might have rubbed other people wrong. He might have did some other people wrong, but he never ever had a bad word for me or did me wrong. And when we
Nah,
worked each other, it was like butter. It's smooth, dude. He was so
yo,
smooth.
I tell you this, I just seen Brandy not too long ago, and till this day, guys like I rather stand around and socialize with guys like him, King Kalua, Darren Wise.
Kalua,
They
come
they they
on,
they were all
man.
there at the
Come
same
on,
show that I
man.
was recently, and they were
Man,
and we
you,
had nothing but great conversations. Us.
I used to go in the locker rooms. Like my last little stint in wrestling happened in 2015. That was it for me. I hadn't had my heart attack yet, but I had just went to Cambodia and Thailand because I had a death happening in my life that really affected me. It really affected me a lot. So I had to leave the country. I left the country in 2014, went to Cambodia and Thailand, partied it up, then went to Nicaragua. Met my wife in Nicaragua, who's a Canadian. You saw her earlier, but she kissed me and left the room. She doesn't like anything about pro wrestling. I would let you know that right now. She because she knows that the bug has bitten me several times and that I've gotten back in the ring. I have a heart condition now, and she will not allow me to get back in that ring ever again.
I would not blame her. I would not blame like
So
she is your protector.
right, she actually saved my life when I had my heart attack. So it's uh I can't. She and I separated for a little bit because she came back up here to Canada. I went back to Philly, and I was living in Philly with Mike Laurel for a little bit
Slayer.
with Slayer. So I was living with him, and I was doing a couple of. I did 3 shows before I got back on the plane and went back to Nicaragua. But to make a long story short, like I said, I go into these locker rooms and I see these kids, and they're kids to me. I'm fucking 55 years old. And the last time I wrestled, I was 49. So it was like, these guys are kids to me. So you walk in the locker room, and these kids don't even know how to walk up to you and say hello. You might be already in a room. When I first came into the business, I was taught you acknowledge and speak to everybody in that locker room.
Yes.
Everybody in that locker room. You introduce yourself, you make relationships. And I've made incredible, beautiful relationships with people, and I made some enemies. Because you get in this business, if you don't have an enemy, you ain't doing business right. I'm gonna let you know that now, because you're gonna break somebody's heart, you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings, you're gonna put somebody in their place. You might have to stiff some young kid. You might have to give him the business. You might have to do something like that. You might have to go in a locker room, pick up a chair, and put it right upside somebody's head. That almost happened at Body Slams. You know what happened. It almost happened with me and Jake in Body Slams. So
Before
you
we
have
talk
that kind of stuff.
before we talk anything about body slams, because that's where we met.
Yes, sir.
What kind of a loop have you done between your first match and to the time we met at body slams? Because like I said, I haven't met you until then.
I worked for Jimmy Dio, Dino Santa, uh, Dennis Carluzzo off and on. I worked. I had taken actually a 45-day leave and went to Memphis and worked for Jeff Jarrett's dad, and Jeff Jarrett's dad,
Jerry
Jerry Jarrett. I had worked for them for and this is what I want to tell these kids right here. That right there was sacrifice. That's sacrifice. That's taking buying a beat up white VW Rabbit, packing all your gear in it, hitting the road, going to Memphis. Your matches are $50. You sleeping in some broad's house, some ring rat's house. You might get another gig at a bar working as a bouncer, but you hitting the road and you going because that's your love. That ain't staying home, bruh. That's telling your wife, I'll be back. That's telling your kid, my daughter, who's 33 years old right now, that's telling your kid at that time, I'll be back. Because I had to go back into the military after my 45 days was over. But I took that 45 days not to be with my wife and kids back then. I went to fucking wrestle, bro. I wanted that business that much.
Because if you didn't take your chance, your shot at doing it then, you would probably really regret
I'd have walked
it.
away from it. I'd have walked away from it because, like I said, I already had another career. When I got out of the military, I went into corrections, and I had a corrections career going. I did not have to stay. I did not have to do professional wrestling. I had work. It wasn't like I wanted to be a professional wrestler, but I knew I was already past my line. Barry Windham told me that. Barry Windham said there's only two ways that you get in this business is that you're astronomically the best that they've ever seen and they can't deny you, or you have a name in this business from your dad, somebody else in this business, and you got in. If you ain't in now, you'll never get in.
and
Barry
and
Windham told me that.
and and and, and you know what's great? When I see like that you're retired, I'm retired,
Mhm.
uh, but we walked away on our own terms.
On your own
It,
terms, man.
it, it's not that someone forced us out. Okay,
Nope.
yeah, I got hurt. I could have rehabbed and kept going and stuff,
Yep.
but I stayed in the business. I took that injury and I made it a positive where I shined more into with my vocal skills as
Right.
far as I switched up to become a manager. So I kept
Right.
evolving myself.
You
You know,
stayed in the business though. When I turned my back on in 2015 on the business, I was done. I had to I had to burn, cut up, and throw away all my gear. I had to
mm,
stop watching it. This is from a kid watching it. I cannot watch it to this day. I don't
mm,
watch anything but old stuff. If I watch it, it's old. I'm
it has to
talking
be old.
old school stuff. Uh I don't know what's going on in the business today. I couldn't even tell you. I know who's champions and stuff
Mm.
because if you're scrolling on Facebook,
Oh yeah,
shit,
it just pops up.
it pops up. So I
Yeah.
know who are champions and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see that the AEW is in because the WWE needed this competition to pick up their shit. When the WWE had competition, the WWE was the best thing going. They
Hmm.
were doing a whole lot of good stuff. With when you have no competition and you got everybody watching your stuff, you can downgrade your shit. And that's what they've done. They've downgraded it. It's not the best thing in the world, but it worked.
Yeah.
It works for itself. It
Right, right,
works.
right now, WWE is still considered the godfather of professional wrestling,
Absolutely.
but
When they bought
with
out everybody, shit.
but
When you
but
can
right
buy out
now,
everybody,
but with AEW right now, uh, being on their heels, just gnawing out away at them, little by little, who knows what might happen? Like
well, the
uh
one thing I don't want to see happen with AEW is what happened with WCW when Kevin Hall and and not Kevin Hall, Scott Hall and
yeah,
Kevin
Kevin
Nash
Nash.
and all the guys went over there and they started eating up all the money. They
Hmm.
just, I don't want to see that happen at AEW. I know the kid's father is a billionaire and he's
Yeah.
got money to throw
I
away.
think I think Tony Khan's a lot smarter than that.
I would hope so.
And like I guess he'll look at the mistakes what WCW did, but when you look at it, he's not bringing in these major old school guys or anything, ones that are but he's bringing like some here and there, especially like a bunch of indie darlings as well, and
Absolutely.
he's making them, and the ones that you are bringing in, he's making them earn their money. They're actually putting on great matches, so it's not like let's say you got Hall and Masher coming in and you got these mediocre matches. Yeah, you're two big guys. Nobody wants to sit there and watch just just clubbering on each other, whatever, a knee to the gut, the talent that they are signing are actually working. So it
You know what?
they're earning their pay.
You know what worked for the WWF back in the day? What worked for the WWF back in the day, it was they had all four time zones taken care of. what I'm talking about, you had, well, actually three of the coast. They had the East Coast, West Coast, and they had middle of the United States all sewn up. Do you know how they did that? They had they had superstars that you could take one dude, you could take Bret Hart, put him on the West Coast. You could take
Yeah.
HBK, put him in the Midwest. You could take The Undertaker, put him on the East Coast, and they had it all sold up.
Yeah.
Dude, you didn't have to keep all your superstars in one place and try to make that money. They could make that money anywhere. The business is totally different today. But I'm really not a big business guy
I
to
got
talk
it.
about in that loop. I can't really talk about them because when I talk about them, I talk about them like I'm a fan. What I would like to see, and I'm
Yeah.
not a mark for them because I don't cloud chase those guys. I wish them all well because they all workers. Those are all workers just like we were. We weren't on the same level, and the only reason why we weren't on the same level is because we weren't on TV. But I think we all work in the same degree, and some of us better than those cats.
I got a question from Michael. Uh
Okay.
I have to ask, when you guys met some of the guys you saw on TV, were you guys starstruck at all?
I was starstruck with I met I met the first person I ever met was Jim Neidhart. Jim Neidhart, he and I worked on a show on Jimmy Gio's show, and Jim Neidhart walked up to me, shook my hand. He says, "I'm Jim." He says, "I'm Jim." Hey, oh, I said, "Yeah, I know who you are, sir." And he was like, "No, don't call me sir, call me Jim." And we had a nice little conversation. He sat down and gave me a great lecture. He was in a battle royal, and I was in a battle royal, and then I had a singles match against Dennis Diamond. That's a long time ago. Dennis Diamond. See, I'm telling you, I was raised well in this business, raised very well. So uh,
We come from the same group of friends, pretty much.
yes, yes.
So
So the Battle Royal was at the beginning of the show, which I didn't understand, but they had it at the beginning of the show, and I got hit from behind and ran and got bound, bounced right into Jim Neidhart's leg, the side of his leg. Dude, he picked me up, and I weighed back then. This is when I weighed 180. He picked me up by my throat and my crotch and threw me 2 rows into the front,
like, get the hell
into the
out of here,
front,
kid.
right out of the ring. I went
uh
into the locker room and was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And we go into the locker room, and at the end, because he went over. He comes in the end. He says, I hope you didn't get hurt or anything. I said, no, no, no. The marks caught me in the in the seats. He says, don't ever run into a worker's legs in a battle royal. I said, I was knocked into. He says, I don't care. I don't care. He says, I had to get you out of there because you're kind of green. He says, so I just wanted to get you out of there. He says, but you ran it. He says, I'm going to the WCW next, and I don't want you messing up my money. I was like, I understand, Jim. I understand. So that's one little story. When I British Bulldog, I worked him one time, and I was absolutely, positively starstruck by that dude. Absolutely.
oh, he's big like a brick shit house too.
Big. I thought
Yeah.
I was big, and he stands maybe 2 or 3 inches taller than me, but was built like a brick shit house.
Yo,
I mean, just huge, just
honestly,
huge.
I think his son Harry is like bigger than him. He height wise as
Height
well too.
wise, height
Yeah,
wise.
no, but
Yeah.
but if you see him nowadays, he's like,
Oh, he's all jacked up.
yes,
That
yes.
juice to do it. That juice to do
Me, but
it.
he, I'm gonna say, but he's actually taking care of himself because he's also like, he's into like the mixed martial arts and that kind of
Oh,
stuff too as well.
that's cool,
So
but I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you all a secret. It ain't no secret because you've been in the locker rooms, Dave. To be a big guy, and I've done it too. You got to juice. You got to juice to be a big guy in the business. It ain't. I don't give a shit how much weight you're lifting in the gym. If you ain't juicing, you ain't getting no muscle. And I juiced maybe the first 3 years of the business.
mm,
That picture right there that you got there is quite possibly the biggest I had ever been in the business. I was about 210 right there. So that's just straight juice. You
yeah,
you you
yeah,
have to you have to juice in the business to
I
be.
heard the
You
stories
had
of when I was up there at the school about one of the smaller guys
to.
juicing. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, for what? It's not even. It's okay. He might be taking a shot in the ass, but it's not like he's lifting the weights. It's not even
Yeah,
showing. So
if
why is he even doing it?
yeah, if you're not putting in the work from doing it, you shouldn't do it. I couldn't call myself Flex Wheeler and come in there looking like a noodle, a
Yeah,
spaghetti. I couldn't, and that was my gimmick. My gimmick name
yeah,
comes from a long,
yeah,
another
yeah.
thing. it's
Call
another
yourself
it's another
call
story.
yourself Flex Wheeler and come in there looking what's the word I want to use? Bodacious.
Right. Exactly. And we know what that is, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Brother,
it's
brother,
it
brother,
was
brother. Yeah.
it, uh when I met Flair at a show. Matter of fact, that's another the story with you and I
I was
when we
about to
went to,
bring that up.
go see and mark out on Harlem Heat.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah.
You know what, folks? Yeah, we did. We it wasn't even at a show. We
Nope.
went and marked out on South Street in Philadelphia.
Yep. At
Uh
Tower Records,
and
they were doing the signing. It was actually at the they were going to the Philadelphia Civic Center that's actually torn down now. It was right across the street from the Children's Hospital
uh-huh.
in Philadelphia. They tore that building down, and that was the last show that was being done in that building. The WCW came to that show. So Dave told me about it. I said, fuck it, let's go. So we went down. My wife was with my ex-wife, wife number two at the time. She went with us, and we went down and we met Harlem Heat. But as they were signing, we didn't even get anything signed from them. We just went down to say hello to them, and I shook Booker
And they
T's hand
and they
and
gave us
gave
contact information they gave
right.
us.
And I gave him the worker's handshake, and I said no kayfabe, and his eyes got big as shit. He was like, "Oh, you a worker?" I was like, "Yeah, well, I only do indies." And I said, "Here's my brother here with me. He's a worker too." And we got into a nice conversation and had a
Yeah,
picture. They came
yeah.
after they waited. They said like, wait here. After they finished their signing and
Yeah, because
everything,
after that we went
we
outside.
yep,
They had the limo there. They had the
yep.
bodyguards there. The bodyguards were trying to rush him into the limo, and they're like,
No,
"No, no,
no,
no, hold
no,
on,
no,
no, no.
no.
We're
Gotta
talking,
take
yeah."
pictures with the yay, and
Well,
we're gonna take
well,
pictures with the brothers
well,
here.
yeah. So we got the conversation, which we think these guys were like twiddling their thumbs. The security guys, they really want to get these two big monsters into the limo and to the arena, and they wasn't here. Like, no, 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 slow down.
Yep,
We got this. We're talking to these two, and that's it. And I think that was high and mighty of them. I loved it. It was a great time
it
just
was
for
great. It
for
was
for
great.
just conversation, even if it was for like 5 minutes. But it was a
Yeah,
good conversation we had.
and they took
They
a picture. I still have that picture to this day,
Oh yeah,
Dave.
I got that too.
And
Um,
uh, Dave was young. I'm gonna let you know, guys. Dave was very young
I
back then.
was probably about 20, 21, about 20, something like that, around
How
20,
old are you
21.
now, Dave?
45 now. I'm 10
Okay,
years behind
yeah,
you.
you were 20 because I was 30.
Yeah.
So uh, they came and said, "Yo, where Booker's like, where the party at around here, man? Where the party at? I say, look, I'll take you guys with me tonight. If y'all want to do whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he gave me all his information. He said, look, I want you to come to the show. You come to the show, you come in the back, you call me up and let me know you there and I'll come get you. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. So I rolled
and
down through the
and
show.
I remember you were telling me you were there, you got called back in the back, and then apparently, uh, I guess they were trying to check your your credentials of who
Yeah.
you were,
I
because
didn't have any, I didn't have anything. I
because
had nothing
security
on.
there has
Yeah.
a list of who can and
Yep.
cannot go in,
Yep.
and I guess they said, "Well, oh, that's my cousin. That's my
Yep.
cousin."
Yep. Book was like this. That's my cousin, man. Leave him alone. You leave him alone. That's my cousin. So I was like, cousin? Yeah, 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 yeah. He said, oh, you his
Yeah,
cousin?
just go with it.
He's like, go ahead, go, 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 go. So I went to the back and I'm in the back with Benoit, Malenko, uh, Mach. Macho Man was there at that time. Flair, Lex. Oh my God, dude, I'm back there and I'm about to faint because these guys were actually walking up to me and saying, hey brother, how you doing? And I would give them the worker handshake. You're like, oh, you're a worker, my man. Hey, and was talking to me. Flair walks up. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Woo, woo, woo. He's like, I'm getting ready. Arn Anderson walked up to me. He says, you ever thought about working for the WCW? I was like, no, I had some friends who worked for y'all before. They say what they say bad things about me. They say bad things. No. Quinn Nash and Adam Flash. Oh yeah, I know those guys. So we had great conversation. Mach didn't talk. Mach didn't want to talk to anybody. Mach was like that. So it was like, yeah, whatever. But I will never forget this. That Benoit was standing looking out at the curtain at the matches, and I'm standing right there next to him, and Benoit maybe is an inch taller than me, and he was like, oh, you work for ECW? I was like, no. I said, I'm too old to be working. But no, you never too old. He was like, you're never too old to do something like that. He said, you gotta work with guys like that so you can get up here with us. He says, man, don't you ever say stuff like that about yourself. He says, you go out there. You said, you go check out ECW. He says, you let him know that I sent you. He gave me a card and all this stuff. He's like, no, you can do this. He says, don't ever say that. He didn't know I wasn't ready. I didn't want the business like that. I was doing corrections. I didn't want the business like that. So it was good. I had a great time that night. And at the end of the night, we in the limo. We went to Delilah's. I took them to Delilah's. They had a great night in Delilah's. The Bahama Bay. I took them to Bahama Bay. Remember Bahama on Delaware Avenue? I took them to Bahama Bay and Oasis. Dude,
there's a lot of stuff that ain't there no more.
they had a ball. Dude, he gave me his number. He says, you ever need anything, you give me a call. That's my guy. Booker is my guy for life. That guy can do no wrong, man, because he treated me like I was an equal. And I felt I will never forget that, man. I'll never forget that. Yeah, a lot of the guys, if Big Boss Man was a cool dude. He was cool.
I didn't care for him too much. Because I had a bad experience when I was a kid, though.
Okay,
when I was a kid, though.
Okay.
It was just me. He probably had a bad night though. But me being a little kid running up to his car at the time, he was a baby face. Growing up his window and he's like, get the fuck away from me. I'm like, oh, ain't he a good guy? Why is he cursing at me? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, fuck you then. And I'm like, so I never really liked him after that. So I was like,
and the funniest guys to ever work a show with is Brutus Beefcake and Valentine.
Oh, definitely.
Dude, oh my God. You talking about two of the drunk
Beefcake is hilarious.
Even drunk and high, and they're the drunkest and highest dudes in the ring. And I'm like, man, I ain't working with even one of them cats. But they're cool. Just cool dudes, man.
Now we met so many guys throughout the years
Mm-hmm.
of big name towns.
Yeah.
We met a lot of indies, I'm not gonna say stars, but indie vets, brothers that we can call close friends who are not wrestling anymore either throughout,
Right.
our
A-
time since the older that
Ace.
we are.
Yeah. Ace Darling.
Uh,
Shit. Ricky Blues. Uh, Shit, dude. I mean, if you come up with some names, Jake
Jake and Paul
and
back
Jake and
through.
Paul,
Yeah.
D.
It's a whole list.
It's a whole list.
Yeah.
Love Struck. I,
Yes.
dude. I'm a long list of dudes who's gone out of the business. Flash
Yeah.
Wheeler, uh,
And he went
Segment,
on to he went on to better things.
one on the better things.
Yeah. Uh,
Just a lot of guys that I outlasted a lot of
yeah.
them, and a lot of the guys are still
Yeah.
working out there, and they
Yeah.
outlasted me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
From our time when we met at Body Slams with the likes of like I said, did Quinn and Adam bring you into Body Slams? Because I remember them being there too at the same time.
uh, yes, I think Quinn brought me in because Adam and I we got along, but we didn't get along.
Okay.
Adam
You were
liked to
cordial.
Yeah, well, Adam liked to keep the gimmick going.
Ah.
And uh when we worked for Deeds, he and I worked each other a lot. And I think Adam thought the rivalry between us was real. Was like we were supposed to be like that all the time.
Mm.
And I used to sit back and say, dude, this thing,
Well,
come on,
well, well. Back then, back then before our time, before we met, the whole
Mhm.
kayfabe was a lot more
Yep.
tighter before.
Yep.
Where no
Yep.
matter what, even outside of the business, you were
Nope.
still kayfabing it. Where
Yep. Yep.
like
Dude, you
you
could
didn't
not
go
be
to
seen.
party.
Nope.
No.
You couldn't be seen in the same bar.
Okay.
You couldn't be seen uh just if because I living in Philly, you ran into a lot of guys.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we always ran into somebody. You might be running into them in the grocery store. You might run into them in the Wawa, whatever. You run into a guy, and instantly, I used to keep the kayfabe going. I never ever drop kayfabe for the marks. The marks would know that I didn't like a guy, or if a guy was my boy in the business or something like that. You never broke kayfabe. Uh, my character, when I knew that I was booked on a show, a week before the show, I started getting into character.
Mm.
People, my ex-wife would tell you, "Oh, that's not Tate, that's Flex Wheeler." We looking at Flex right now because I started. You have to work it, and to me that part of the art of the business, because it's an art form, dude. You ain't gonna ever tell
It,
what we do in the
it
ring is an
it
art form.
once was
Yeah,
the
it can still be right
depends.
now.
I'm gonna say depends where you're at. Like if you're like in an old fashioned small town where they're not hip to the game of far as being a smart mark, where they're only constantly watching what they see on TV but not
Right,
knowing behind it, then I
I
see,
agree.
yeah,
I agree. I
it,
agree.
it depends on the environment and what your crowd is. Who knows? You might have one smart mark and who tries to smarten up the rest of the crowd. Oh, well, that's so and so, and he's friends with this guy, but
Right.
they're yeah.
Uh,
So
I remember
go,
a match you and I did, and you sent it to me the other day.
yeah,
That
prick.
my whole thing was you is that, like I said, I love you like a brother. You always been there for me. You always you never had a bad word for anybody in the business until somebody did something to you, and that's what it is in this business is you don't hold grudges because
and
you might be working that dude. If in the old days, Dennis Carluzzo used to fucking put you with guys that
yeah,
you knew to hate you or you
mm,
hated them just to get that to keep that heat going
yeah,
so you could use it in the ring. It was part of the mystique and the kayfabe. So he would match you up with guys. He might not even match you up with somebody that you
mm.
ever worked with before. I remember working the real Big E.
And
Uh,
I like that.
right.
I really like working guys that never worked before because
Mhm.
you get to find out how well you can work. You know,
And that's uh that's another thing I want to tell the youngins out there, you greenhorns, or you just aspiring to be in the business, or you still in the business now. You in the business right now, you just need a little bit of guidance. So I'm going to tell you something. Always carry your gear with you. If you ain't even on the show and you walk into a show, carry your goddamn gear with you. If you're not working that show, carry your
I,
gear with you. It
s-
better be in the trunk of your car because you never know
s-
what might happen. You never,
sir,
I'm serious.
uh,
You
what
never
you're
know.
saying, what you're saying is golden. I do see a lot of talent bringing their gear to shows like they learned. But my biggest thing is what I'm always preaching nowadays is bring your music, whether it be on a flash drive or whatever.
That
Don't
too.
don't bring
Don't.
your phone and say, "Hey, can you plug into
Yeah,
my phone? Hey, I
yeah.
got a YouTube link or this," because what if I
I
can't
heard.
download?
I heard you kill him the other day with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Bring your music on a flash drive.
Uh,
It's just
Put
like
it this
bringing the
way. Put it this
cassette.
way. If you're good enough DJ, you should have music though, bro. I am. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
oh no, I got extra music. I have stuff that I can just play and like look, you're gonna get what I got. At, I tell them, come here, what's your gimmick? Let me see your gear, what you're wearing, what's your personality, who are you, so I
Mm,
can find something to match you
yeah.
until you get me your stuff that you
Right.
have.
Well, a lot of these
Other
kids today, they don't invest. Like I said, they never invested in themselves anyway.
yeah.
If you invest in yourself, if you take a chance on yourself, uh, you're gonna have everything. You're gonna have it all. You're
Now
gonna put that money to work. You're gonna
now
put you're gonna do that.
speaking of kids investing in themselves, you play a major part in a bunch of young kids' lives. Uh, Even though they were already being schooled and training and stuff like that by others, you had your hands involved in with two companies out of the Philly area in the early on.
Late
Uh,
'90s, in the late '90s into
it,
the
I'm
2000s.
I'm gonna say Pennsylvania Wrestling Alliance
Yep.
and Grand Wrestling Alliance
The
(GWA). They both in
the Grand Wrestling Alliance started first, and it was uh
then
actually
PWA,
yeah
or I think PWA.
GWA was first.
Okay,
PWA came after we split the GWA into the PWA
yeah.
because some guys wanted to work with Aviles because
Mm.
it, you know one thing there's an old saying, don't
I
work a
got to
work
work one time for GWA.
right.
At least I
That's
got that much.
that's because Izzy Avila is the guy who owned it and who was a promoter. He did not like you. I was the booker. I booked you. I was the booker. I made the matches. I gave guys their gimmicks.
He had the chic, and I
He,
went over and I went on record and I spilled the beans to everyone on here several times. I said, "Look, go look up Colin Rosali, Sheik Mohammed, whatever. Hey, I raised my hand. Hey, my kayfabe days are pretty much dead for me as far as working. Hey, that was me. People can go online and see Rey Mysterio without his mask,
Mhm.
whatever. Okay, I done the gimmick. That was me. Okay, here I am. Cat's out of the
it,
bag.
it angered me. You talk about the GWA and PWA. That was like
I had
another.
fun. I had fun in PWA though.
I was 38, and I told all the guys, I say, I'm almost on the way out of this business. I say this is going to either make you guys something, because I'm never going to be anywhere. So let me help you gain a little more. And it was a lot of ego. It was a lot of ego. Me as a booker against Aviles, who's he was the money, he was a promoter. You can get what you want. You want what you want, you get what you want. But me as a booker, if I book the right people, let me cook. I'm the cook. Let me cook. I got
Yeah.
all the ingredients. You give me the ingredients, let me cook. But he was a guy who was like, look, I'm buying the ingredients. I pay for these ingredients, so I got to have my hand into it too. And when you booking, there can only be one mind. I can ask you, Dave, because you've been in this business a long, 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 long time. I can come to you and ask you for advice, and you can give me solid advice. But a guy who came from boxing, who was
Yes.
fixing fights. This is a village. He's fixing fights. Coming to professional wrestling, it's a whole different world. And he thought he knew more than a guy who had already been in the business since
So
'91.
so 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 basically, what you're saying is boxing is fake.
Well,
It
I'm gonna
don't
be
work.
honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, when you go to, because we did shows out of the greatest mecca in Philadelphia, uh, uh, uh,
Blue Horizon.
the Blue Horizon. He
I got
used
to
to
work
throw,
there.
yeah,
Yes.
he used to throw shows at the Blue Horizon, and the Blue Horizon. Some of his boxing shows, they were
It's
fixed. A lot of
it's
those
I
shows, a lot of those boxing venues were fixed.
from my understanding, I think it's still there. I think it's abandoned now, though. I'm not
But
sure.
it's a museum.
Is it? Okay.
They supposed to have made it in a museum or anything like that. But honestly, they only speak about three instances in the Blue Horizon. The one instance is when the Blue Horizon was had boxing. They had Monday Night Boxing, and ESPN was in there, and when the GWA was in there, because we rocked that motherfucker, baby. We had the fucking place packed. We rocked that joint, okay? And
I know I heard stories on more than one occasion. You almost probably had riots in there.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, we were up in the barrio where the real Latinos hang out, and we used to go. We at this hall. I can't remember the name of the hall, but it's up in North Philly, and we had our first GWA shows at that hall. Dude, we had a full riot. We had a full riot because it was the
The
PR
only
SWAT team. It was a PR SWAT team against the
was it a rec center or was it a hall?
no. This was a hall,
Okay.
and
Cause
it was
cause the only place I can think of, like, rec center, well, you're saying hall, though. I was gonna say over at Fifth and Allegheny, they have that one rec center, but you're saying hall, though, so
but this
I'm
is a
wrong.
hall,
Okay.
and it was the PR SWAT team versus the Cash Money Brothers, and the PR SWAT team had the whole Latino nation in that motherfucker, yo. And I'm gonna tell you, full riot. Philly cops had to come because they thought it was real. They could have sworn it was real
Uh,
what we was doing to the PR SWAT team, because we were. I mean, dude, we put it on.
Poor Nitro and Danzar.
We put them on it. We put it on them that night, and that was to put them over, because guys, if you're not making the guys in the seats, the people in the seats, if you're not making them feel like this is real and that they are emotionally invested, you're not doing your job. And we made them seriously emotionally invested that night. They could have said, well, the Cash Money Brothers was like the old Four Horsemen back in the
Yeah, it
day.
was what? It was you,
Old Dog,
uh, Dog, Atlas Rivera,
yeah,
Mercury.
Mercury, yep.
Yeah,
And we were the CMBs. We were the Cash Money Brothers. and dude, we put it on them.
Now
We
when
put it
yous were
on them.
when yous
No,
were
it
doing
wasn't. It
that.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't Atlas Rivera yet. It
No,
was
no,
me. It
but
was
I'm saying
me,
is
Old Dog, and it was me, Old Dog, and the uh, damn the
Ron Star.
boys. No, it was not that. Ron Saw wasn't with us yet. It
Yeah,
was
okay.
the boys. The Philly boys. It was two Philly boys
There's
that
a
was
lot
with
of
us.
them. Pick them.
Yeah, but
now
it was
now
us
when
first.
now when yous were doing this, was this what now was this GWA or was this PWA?
This was GWA.
Okay.
PWA when we pulled away from Avila's because one night, and this is you will get this with a lot of promoters. Uh, you the promoter has talked to the people about the venue, and they'll tell the people at the who own the venue, "Oh, we'll pay you at the end of the night." Because that's when we get all our ticket receipts in, and we get more walk up than we have
Yeah,
residual money in the first place.
I see where
Well,
this is going.
well, you are that, then I don't need to go no further. All I can say is some shit went off, and I
Some
started
people
getting
walked.
and I started getting phone calls to my home, and people asking me where money at. Well, I'm just a booker, dude. Hey, he a certain somebody walked out with workers pay
Building
and
pay.
the buildings pay. Okay,
Uh,
so we had to make a. It was a violent decision to pull away from the GWA, and some other guys went with the GWA, and I did not. I didn't hold grudges because that's how the business is. You don't hold grudges. They went with the
and and
GWA,
and
and
I feel for the best, the ones who went with you made out better because after that split and in comes PWA, GWA was like, where were you? Like
Uh,
they were like
they
gone. It's
do
like
you know that venue? There was a venue right across the street from the uh, the Coca Cola factory. There was a venue over there. They uh, started running over there at GWA, and I'm gonna be honest with you. They ran four shows after they split with us. They ran four shows because uh, three individuals from the ECW got in the ear of Velez and told him, "Oh man, we can help you out. We can do this. We can do that. We're gonna put asses in the seas. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Just
oh,
give us
but
for, just
yeah,
give
we're
us
gonna
the
need
money.
this money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna need this. We're gonna need that." And they took a whole lot of money from the brother.
It,
Whole
it,
lot of money.
it happens when you work with a money mark, but when you got a money mark who thinks he's the one who's going to be doing the scamming because of the line
Well,
of stuff that he does.
well, you know the gym. You know the gym. They came down to the gym. One of those dudes came down to the gym and
What, the
got him.
Hawkins?
Yeah, down to Hawkins Gym, and got in my face and was like, "Man, don't be talking about such and such and such and such. You know, he out boy and this, that, and the other." I said, "Man, you don't know me. I don't care what you saying out your mouth right now. You in here, you not in the ring. This is not a work. I ain't trying to hear nothing that you got to say." I said the same thing that's on your mind can be put on your ass. So don't even come in here with all the rah-rah. I said, because this is not a work. I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. And I'm gonna let you know you don't want none of this. You don't want to even go there. I said, because you might whoop my ass, but tomorrow you're gonna see me, and then if you see me tomorrow, that's the last time you'll ever see me. So that's
Mhm,
how that had to handle. We had to handle it that way.
mhm.
And like I said, it got violent. There was some gunplay. there was dudes who had to go on their way, go on their merry way. But like I said, I to this day I don't have any grudges against anyone except for the dude who started all that. And one of those cats, the cat that came to see me, is dead today.
Yeah,
God rest his soul, but I don't talk bad about the dead.
yeah. because they're not here to defend
Right,
themselves in the
he's not
first
here
place.
to defend
Yeah.
himself, so I won't say any names of who it was, but he's not here, and another one of the cats is not here, and another one of the cats is just he's a South Philly boy. I guess he
Mhm.
in Jersey right now.
They're just floating around, I
Just
guess.
floating. I mean, trying to get work wherever they can get it these days,
Mhm.
and still living off the name of the ECW and all that stuff. And dude, the business back then was so like I said, it's dirty. The WWF used to run commercials during the time that we was running commercials. So we did a reverse on them on their Monday night slots. We ran commercials on their Monday night slots because we knew that everybody was watching at that time, and we would run money commercials on their Monday night slot and get people to call in our number and say, "What's going on? Who is this GWA?" and stuff like. Oh, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
Hey, I hate to tell you this right now. I'm looking at this. I'm sure you got the score on right in
Oh
front of
yeah, I
you.
see. It's
Right, yeah.
2010. Yeah,
Oh God,
it's
these
hurting me
guys
right
are.
now. It's hurting
Yeah.
me.
Uh,
And
well, Flex, we've been on here an hour and 45 minutes. We didn't even like break the cream. Uh the boy. We honestly really didn't get that far because just early stuff is a lot of history though too.
oh my
Uh,
God, is so much history, so much. I mean, you ever
you worked with so many companies. Uh,
a lot of
you
indie companies, a lot
you
of
you
the
you you gave so much knowledge to new cats. Not only that, you worked with a lot of new upcoming cats. I'm gonna name a few that where companies brought you in to work feuds and help put guys over. One, Dylan Freimeyer,
yep,
which currently Sunny Days. He
yep. He's
he
with
works.
AEW.
Yeah, he works behind the scenes at AEW. He runs. He's the booker and matchmaker down at Southern Honor Wrestling. Um,
That was my another one of my little brothers, and like I call you my little brother, but you're a lot closer. But Dylan was
he's
a
a lot
young,
younger.
yeah, he's a lot younger, and
Dylan, I
Dylan,
took as a little brother myself because
right? He
he
needed
was
it.
coming to watch me. He was
Yep,
watching me work. I'm like, so yeah.
he needed it, and I dude, this is what I'm talking about relationships in the business. When you're sitting at home and you don't have anything left to do with the business, I was done.
Yeah.
I was 40 years old. I'm done. And I said, I'm not wrestling anymore. And then I get a phone call from Reading, and it's they chicks that chicks
Shannon.
Shannon and Valentine. They call me up and they say, Flex, uh, we bought Pinky's old what was that he had?
PW, his ring,
WPW.
his
Yep.
company and stuff. Yeah.
They bought everything from him, and we got this kid Dylan, and he needs a lot of help in the ring. We would like to book you for some matches against him. And he and I had like 5 great matches, and just a great kid who needed that polishing and that guidance. And I think
And
he was cloud chasing at first. He had an ego because he was also part of he had his money into them also with them. And I think they were trying to appease him, but he was dangerous in the ring, and he couldn't be used the way that they want to. Nobody wanted to work with him, and they asked me to work with him. I said, you know what? For me to come up to Red and to work with this kid, I gotta have you guys gotta take care of me, blah blah blah. And they did it. They did it. They took care of me. I took care of him. I took him under my wing, and to this day, when he started running his own shows, because he broke away from them because, well, like I said, there's always something that you don't like about the business, and when you don't like about the business, you start your own thing.
yeah.
So he started his own thing in Lewistown, and to this day, I could probably walk into Lewistown and they'll put a red carpet down on the floor for me in Lewistown. That was actually my
Really.
last match in
And
2015 was in
and
Lewistown.
And the thing is, if anybody out there wants to catch any of that, those matches between
It's
Flex
on
and
YouTube.
Dylan, you can just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
There's multiple different matches I believe they have on there. Uh, Another young kid that you got to do a series of matches with, which I did not really get to see the matches themselves because I wasn't
ECPW up
there.
in Allentown.
I was gonna
Hmm.
say Sean Williams.
Yep,
The
Sean
promo,
Williams.
all the
Yep,
promos
my
leading
God.
in and out of those matches, they were remarkable.
Classics.
You had me
Classic.
dying hysterically, beating up strangers. That's not him. And you're like, you want to sorry. I'm like, yo, come on, let's go, let's get out of here. That's not him.
And I drop money at the dudes
Yeah.
as he's laying down. I drop money. I say, here this money you die, and just run up the street. Oh my God, you
Yeah, that
just
was
brought
some
up a
good
good
stuff
one.
I
That was a good
watched.
one. That was a good one. I did that one and put it on Facebook, and people died. They were like, dude, you are so fucking stupid.
It
I
was just
can't believe
But it
you.
was not just that. You just kept putting all these different
Yep.
promos leading up to your
I'm gonna
because
tell you about
you had more than one match though.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you about Sean. Sean hurt me really, 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 really bad in the ring. You
So
know
you
how you
retired.
he almost had me retire. He gave me the Stone Cold dump on the back of the neck. You
Ooh.
remember when Stone Cold got hurt by
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart? Well, that
Yeah.
happened to me. And
Yeah.
but mine was Sean. This is what happens when you work with young kids who don't know how to improvise because you don't have to call everything. But if I sling you in and go for a hip toss, you block, you float over, go for a hip toss. I block, I float over and go for a hip toss. You block, I hit you to the stomach, you go down. I lay my leg over your head because see, I could still do these things, and I'm going to
I
do a black
I see.
backflip and
Mhm.
then give you the hip toss. Well, when I did that with Sean, he came up, way up, grabbed me, and dumped me right on the back of my neck, dude. Dude, I had never ever in all my life because everything went dead from my neck down. It went dead.
Uh,
All of a sudden, I got this feeling back. I got the tingles back, and I rolled out of the ring. The referee came out and said, "Are you all right?" Because he saw me dump on the back of my neck. He saw it. I said, "Get him. Tell him to work the crowd. Give me at least 2-3 minutes." I got back in the ring. We finished the match. He pinned me. I just told him to pin me because I couldn't do anything, Dave. I couldn't do a damn thing. He pinned me. I roll out of the ring, go into the back, ask the guys, get a bag of ice, get my girl who I was with at the time, get her, tell her to come back to the dressing room. I couldn't move. I was done. I ain't gonna lie. And I had a match the next night.
did you make it?
I made the match. I was. Do you know Serengi?
Serini,
Yeah,
CM,
Serengi. Yeah,
CM, yeah.
yeah. I was working him up in Lewistown the next night. That was in Allentown, so
You
I had
got
to
hurt
go up.
again.
Dude, I'm in the locker room. I tell Serengi, dude, I got hurt last night. Don't work my neck. What does this son of a bitch do? He works my kid, he works my neck. He's working it. What do? Get upset, threw his ass out of the ring, grabbed him, threw him all into the tables, all into the chairs, used every chair in the place on his fucking head, started kicking him around, threw him back in the ring, covered him, went back into the locker room. He was supposed to go over. I thought I shot it. Bucko. Shot it. covered him, went back into the locker room. He comes back. What the fuck? I said, dude, didn't I tell you not to fucking work my nigga? Didn't I tell you not to touch me? Oh my God, I'm sorry, Flexx. Hey, get the fuck out of here. Get away from me. Hey, I'm sorry for all the F bombs, people, but this is when I get excited, this
Hey,
is me.
hey, when it gets real, it's real.
But he hurt me even more. I had to go to the hospital that week, and they found out that it was just a hernia. It was like herniated, but it was just swelling in the spinal in my C4 up in my neck area. It was just swelling, and that it was going to go down and everything was going to be fine. After
Uh,
that, that's when they called me up and they asked me was I fine, and I said, yeah, I'm fine. They said, well, can you work that into a gimmick? Can you work that into it? I started wearing a neck brace. I was going to the gym. I would do the, you saw all the promos I was doing. I'm coming to get you, Sean. I'm coming to get you.
I might have to look them up and try to download them.
It was classic. That was good. And then he and I had a street fight, and he thought he said, yeah, I got my broom, and I did the old school what's my man's name who just passed away, black guy,
I can't think.
bunch of scars on his forehead,
No,
bunch of scars for ECW.
Oh, New Jack.
New Jack. I did the old New Jack thing and had a shopping cart full of shit, 2 trash cans full of shit, threw it all in the ring and just beat that boy's
Just went to
ass.
town.
I just destroyed him. That was a great match. And that was another match that was almost a riot because he had his girlfriend and his whole family up in the stands. And I was beating this boy half to death, and it was color all over the place. And his people started getting really upset. they really started getting upset, and people in the audience was like, oh, he deserved this. All the marks was like, oh, he deserved this, what he did to Flexx. And hey.
Well, I just want to say we're almost hitting the 2-hour mark here. The chat room is open, so people, if you have questions that you want to ask Flexx, please chime in now, because before it's too late, he's like an hour behind on time zone.
Yes,
so
it's
later for me. I still got to go to work. He still has
He's
an
got to
hour
go
left.
work.
He still has an hour left.
I'm an old man. Y'all see these grades? I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. So if you guys got well, not cons, but if you got serious questions you want to ask, get them out there in the chat rooms right away, right now, while you got a chance. What you gotta do is, when we're off here, you gotta shoot me your address and stuff so I can get you one of these cool Thursday Night Slam shirt that we just had. See, I do all our own designs here on the show,
and that's a beautiful shirt. Because I was going to say that every guest who comes on your show should get a shirt. Yeah, I mean, I can just represent.
We also just got in our pop-up pipe bombs T-shirt, which is our podcast where it happens anytime, anywhere, anytime. That's why it's called pop-up. And then I did a tribute one of to the likes of Run DMC.
Okay.
So it was
okay.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for my parody version of OnlyFans to come in. Yeah, the OnlyFans where I did a Body Slams one version of that. So
anybody ask any questions? If you don't have any questions for me right now, I don't give a shit. But if you had anything you wanted to say, Dave will invite me back on again. I'm a retired.
I would love to have
seriously
you back on
retired.
again.
I am seriously retired. I don't work. I get a pension from the military. I don't work. I live up here in Canada. I watch football. I play video games all day long. I work out a lot because I put on a lot of weight.
I think what I want to do one day is get multiple different vets who are not working anymore and have them come on the show and let all of you discuss the business of how it is. Besides just me and you throwing stuff back and forth. Have some other guys who've been around and
Do I
like.
still talk to Booker T? No, I do not right now. I haven't talked to Booker in about, I'd say, 6 years. Because, like I said, I wasn't home. I haven't been in the States when I left the States in 2014. I left a lot of things behind. I mean, a lot of things. I got rid of a lot of things. I burned a lot of things. I got rid of a lot of things. Booker's phone number is still in my phone, but I haven't talked to him in about 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I see we have 3 guests who are viewing. I see, well, we got Mikey, Joey, and I don't know who the third
First of
one would
all,
be.
where the rest of those clowns at? Those jabronis, those
Oh, the ones that I tagged when
yeah. No, no,
I
no, no. Where the boys that was on that's on the podcast all the time that always got all this stuff to talk. They yeah. That's all I hear them doing. Your compadres, they
Oh,
over here
well, well,
talking
well,
all this stuff.
well, that
Where
is
they at?
well, that is Joey
Well, I like to
and
see them,
Michael.
or I would love to see them here today,
No, no,
especially that
no,
some
what?
bitch, that was doing all that cooking back there, making all that noise the other day
Oh,
when I
you
was trying
talking
to listen.
about Dennis?
Yeah,
All right,
Dennis,
all
you
right.
jabroni.
Give me 1 second, real quick. I'm gonna do something for the boys. Hey, guys, I know you're tuning in and you can hear everything going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send the invite to the page, and there you go, gentlemen. You guys have the invite now on our chat room page for in our Body Slams pre-show group page. So click on it, jump on in the room here, and you guys can ask away,
hey,
conversate with Flexx
hey,
while we're still
Dave.
here.
Hey, Dave. You remember Purple Haze?
Oh my God rest his show.
Yes, yes,
I,
bro.
I, I
Oh my,
honestly, my masks and my boot, my pair of boots that I have, and the mask that I wore are all from him. So, like,
Hayes was another one of my teachers. He taught me a lot.
oh,
Uh,
he taught a lot about arm drags
yes,
and just the whole
sir.
lucha style.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Purple Hayes was a
And
wonderful
but
guy, man.
but people don't
Wonderful.
what people when I say lucha style, his was the old school lucha
Yeah.
style, not
Yes.
all that fancy high flying that they do nowadays. It was like his lucha style. Okay, yeah, you had some dives here. You had some head scissors here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
not all the crazy shit they got going on now with 50 million flips and
Yeah.
whatnot. Joey says he's already laying down in bed. Uh Mikey's probably laying down in bed too.
That's
No,
cool.
because he gotta get up for work anyway. But you know what? Flexx, Tate, brother,
Brother,
it's been a pleasure
it was a
having you
pleasure. It was it
on the
was a real
show.
it was a thrill.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for
Uh,
this all day. My wife was like, look at you, you're chomping at the bit over there." And I'm like, I've been wanting to do an interview for pro wrestling for a while. Corey Castle wanted to do me a couple of years ago, and I couldn't get around to it because I was out of the country. But he had, he was like, we can do this, we can do that. I can get it set up there, but I was out of the country, dude. I
yeah.
just I couldn't do it. And then I've been watching your podcast and everything, and you invited me. You
You,
said, "Hey, I
you,
want to give you an interview."
you know, being all the way up in Canada and stuff, uh, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna offer an invite here, but you gotta do your homework, brother. You gotta
My
do your.
homework. My
I know you
homework.
don't. I know you don't watch wrestling. You said.
No. Nope.
I was gonna say this Sunday at 11 a.m. we are doing our NXT War Games prediction show. So
Okay.
So from my understanding, like I said, like how you said you didn't watch wrestling, so you don't know who are the participants in any of these matches are.
Nope.
So I was gonna invite you. Now I'm not because you don't know who the fuck
I
anybody
don't
is.
know. I don't, bro. When I tell you, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in the
I
business. I can't. You showed me a kid the other day, and you said he was the second coming of me. I looked at that kid,
yeah.
he's close.
We're talking about Darian Hardway, everyone.
Yeah, he's close, but he's still got he got a little bit more to go
Well, yeah, he's
to
still
be a
young.
flex
He's still
wheeler.
young.
To be a flex wheeler, but he a spot monkey, and
Uh,
I don't like spot
I
monkeys.
I
But
I can
he's
I can I can see you uh opening a school. I can see you managing.
not
Yeah.
today's not today
Ah.
because it's a different world out there, Dave.
Mhm.
It's like it would be like Magic Johnson trying to teach the kids
Well,
today basketball. It's a different world. I started in '91 and had 24 years in the business. It's so, and I've seen the difference how it became so different, Dave. It's so different today.
I
It's just different. It's
I
different. I couldn't teach these kids today. I couldn't.
I
What did I teach?
I got something for you. I got someone who can ask you questions from a fan's perspective, and
Okay.
that's our man Mikey.
Hey, what's up?
Ah, Mikey, what up,
What's
brother?
going on?
What up, brother? How are you, brother?
Now, now,
Oh man,
now,
doing all right.
Mikey is one of our analysts, and
Yes,
he
I like
is,
him.
and he is the brother of Pat, who is like one of the lead guys behind Devereaux Sports.
Right.
And Pat used to work as Frankie Frizzo, so he's the brother of a worker. So
Okay. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
so
Oh,
he knows the insides of the business, but he was never a worker himself. But he can ask you questions from a fan's perspective. So,
From a
Mikey,
fan's perspective,
yeah,
yeah,
have at it.
I'm also the better Bernard. Let's not forget that.
Yes,
I
yes, you're the Saint Bernard.
Yes.
I believe that the fans are more important than the workers because without the fans we can't do anything, but stroke each other's what. But without, I'm serious. Without them, what is it? Uh,
Man,
I've worked in front of 3,000 people. I've worked in front of 25 people. But you still got to give them the same 100% you give them every time you in the ring. Anytime you're in the ring, if it's two people, I'm going to give them the best thing that I could do.
so what do you say to fans out there, or even anybody that's getting into the business who have heard the term wrestling is fake? Because I know as well as you guys that yeah, okay, it's fake, but your body does take a pounding. So what
I,
is your response to that?
my response to, I'm going to answer your question like this. When I was coming up in this business, a pro wrestler's goal, what he was taught, is to not let that person who's sitting at home, not let that person who's sitting in the audience think that they can do what I do. So
Right.
we know that pro wrestling is predetermined. Is it fake? Hell no. I got injuries all up and down my body. I'm serious, all up and down my body that'll tell you there ain't shit fake about it. When I get slammed on the mat, when I got slammed outside the ring, when I do a plancha outside the ring, when I go through chairs, when I was going through tables, when uh Jim Neidhart grabbed me and threw me almost 3 rows into the front row. No, none of that was fake, bro. None of that is fake.
Yeah,
You know, and your body, it takes a toll on the body. Can I go out there and work the way that I used to work when I was 25, 26? not no, but hell no, because I used to be a high flyer back then. I can't do a tenth of what I could do today. What I can do
Wow.
is I know how to still work the ring and do the basics. You do the basics and you can still make a match. This is what I don't understand about a lot of the kids today is that they put their all into a match. And what did you got something out of it through your ego. But what did you give
Right.
to but what did you give to the fans? Did you involve them? Did you involve the marks? Did you make a kid go home and say, wow, that's my hero for today? Or I want to come back and see that dude get his ass whooped today, tomorrow, the next
Right.
time around.
Right.
Independent wrestling is totally different than what's going on at any time on TV, because I never believe that in indie wrestling, unless you run every week, and that's Friday and Saturday. If you run every week, you can run storylines. In indie wrestling, if you only doing this once a month, once every other month, having shows, you can't run storylines. How are you running a storyline? Are you running the storyline to try to prove that you can do a storyline? And that's
Right.
cool. But to me, having interviews and all that stuff during uh indie show that you run every 2-3 months or once a month, how are you running storylines and having interviews all up in the ring? Give the people work. Give the people who paid that money, give them the work that you have been putting into the gym, that you put into watching shows, that you put into
Right.
just doing a whole lot of effort. Give them that work and just make up a story. Let them know that's the heel, that's the face. And do you know how you
Right.
do that?
Exactly.
You don't even have to. I don't even have to go out there. My name's Flex Wheeler. You don't know if I'm the heel or the face until I make it into that ring. But I guarantee you that if the promoter told me, Flex, I want you to be the heel tonight, and this is such and such, and dude's going over, I guarantee you, you'll know that I'm the heel before I even make it to that ring. You'll know that I was the heel, and
Right.
you don't. There's no guessing game. Dave sent me a match the other day with this kid who he says is second coming to me. I didn't know if he was the heel or who was the face until about the middle of the match, because they never involved the people. The kid that all of a sudden then he
I
started
got you.
flexes and stuff like that. But then you say, I'm not here to just watch a match. If when I was a mark, I wanted to be involved. It felt to me, I felt like I was in the match because I did a more talking to the dude that was in the ring, and he was talking back and forth to me, and he made me feel like I was part of that match. And that is what I really believe is so missing from the business right now, is that I got your
Right,
money.
because then you got the crowd. They're focused in on the match.
Yep.
Now you got their attention.
Yep.
You know.
And most of the guys who are working today in indies, they're working in front of friends, family, whatever. Are they really putting asses in the seats like before? Before you could put up a poster and guys say, "Oh, that guy's going to be in that show. I'm coming to that show because that guy's there." These
Yep.
guys are
Yep.
selling tickets, and that happened a long time ago. Promoters giving guys a tickets and saying, "Sell this or you're not on my show." That kind of shit fucks up and I hate that. Dude, that messes up a promotion, because if
and
I'm selling that to send friends and family, do they really support pro wrestling? Are they really supporting the indie wrestling? No, they just coming out to see me, and they're not invested in the rest of the show.
And you know what's funny though when you say that about is you sell these tickets or you're not on the show type of situation, that even transcends beyond wrestling too. Whether it's like a concert or whatever.
Yeah,
Hey, you a local MC, you want to get on you want to be the opening act on my show, you need to go and sell these tickets, and then I got a spot for you.
yeah,
Maybe one song you'll get in, if you're lucky,
Right.
you know.
It's
So
it's just a I'm disappointed in how indie wrestling turned out after being in indie wrestling as long as I was in it. Don't get me wrong. Indie wrestling is always going to be. It's always going to be around. It's
it,
always going
it,
to be. It's going to be here before I'm. After I'm gone, it was there before I was there.
it
What
it's
disappoints me about it
it's
is that
always evolving though. That's a
right
problem
is
where
it
where
evolves. It
yeah.
evolves, and right now it's on a downswing of the evolution because you got too many guys who looked at it and backyard wrestling did it. Mikey Whipwreck did it. I'm gonna call his name out. I'm gonna call certain guys' name out because certain guys let people know that they could. The guy who was sitting on the couch can get up off that couch and do the same fucking thing that I was doing. They could. All they had to do was find a school that would take them in and say, "Oh,
Take
I
their
need."
money.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
take their money and say, "Ooh, I'm gonna bring them in, and I'm gonna do this with it, and I'm gonna do that." There's a guy out there right now, Danny. You know who I'm talking about. He runs the monster factory.
I,
Danny's doing the right thing by these kids right now. He's doing the right thing, and that's what we need is guys who are committed to doing the right thing for the sport, for the business, uh to keep it going. If you just taking money from guys, oh, I'm gonna train this guy how to bump, blah blah blah, and then they going in the ring and they're hurting dudes like myself, that's
Yep.
not good for the business. It's not good for the business. And I've run into people like that, and you it puts a bad taste in a veteran's mouth, but then it puts bad taste in other people's mouths who are going to talk bad about the business. I don't talk bad about the business. I'm disappointed in it.
Right. Right. What you're just saying, you could see that even today. Like Brian Danielson was saying, like, like some of these guys that get to a certain age, and then
One
you
minute,
got young guys.
Joey, you're absolutely right, Joey. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you got these young guys. As you were saying, who have that like not trained the right way, and then now they're getting hurt because no one showed them the old school way, the correct way of working in the ring.
It's
And
it's
it's
not even
true. It's really true. You
it's
Cause you
not even
see
if
it.
they're getting hurt or not. Most of these guys don't even know what Carney is. They don't know what the kayfabe is. The kayfabe, dude. The kayfabe to me was like was like what Christianity is to Christians. That's what the kayfabe was. That's what Carney was. Carney was like, dude, we're getting money from these marks, but you remember that they pay your salary. They pay the salary of the promoter who pays your salary. None of that, it's a symbiotic relationship. None of that shit works without you being able to convince the mark that you are greater than what they are.
Right. Right.
and and and
Absolutely.
and these guys have forgotten that, or they haven't been gotten taught that at all, because it's just like what Joey Image is saying, is these quote unquote trainers are taking money from people and paying your bills with some knucklehead who ain't going to pay you all that money anyway. In the end of it all, what are you going to do? You're going to strong arm him. What are you going to take his money? You took down his social security number or whatever the fuck you did. They're trying to convince
Right.
this
Right.
guy that you're a real business, that you took that. So what are you going to do? Go to the credit bureau and try to get that put on his credit? It's not going to work. You're not
Hey,
going to you you're not
hey,
going to make the money off of these guys.
hey, Tate. We got one more one of our analysts coming into the room now at the last
Yes, sir.
at
Yes,
the end
sir.
of the show.
Yes, sir.
This is Pat that I mentioned earlier, Frankie Frizzo, Mike's brother, uh, one of the gentlemen behind Devereaux Sports, and he has his own show called The Gobbler, which will be on this Sunday at 9. And he talks sports, football, and all that stuff. So if you want to jump in and check out his shows, you can jump in early that day on Sunday and talk sports with them.
What's up, brother? How are you?
What's going on? How are you
All
guys?
right, I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Hey, what's up, Pat?
And look, it's the worst Bernard. Oh man.
Oh, these guys got heat.
Yeah. Look at that girl
So
down there.
As long
Nice.
as it's friendly heat.
All right,
no,
Pat, spill the beans. What do you got? I know you got some questions.
no. So I was listening to your guys' conversation. I got the tail end of it, and
It's a
you
long
guys are
ass
talking about
show, right?
trading and all that stuff. It's nowadays it's about if you can sell merchandise, the traders don't care as long as they get some of this. Like
Mhm.
I told you guys, I'm from the old school way of King Kong Bundy, where he made sure you're getting trained right. He don't care who's selling what ticket. He wants to make sure you're getting trained. Don't let him catch you outside that ring. You are
That's
in that
right.
ring. You're paying your dues to be in that ring.
And do
You
you
are
know why
paying.
that is, Pat? And do you know why that is?
What's
That's
that?
because Bundy and all the other guys, they worried about getting hurt. You're messing with somebody's livelihood. This is not, it's not, pro wrestling is not a game. It's not a game because if I put a guy up in a suplex, he doesn't know how to land, or he puts me in a suplex, he doesn't know how to put me down correctly. Dude, you can get hurt in there, and that's my livelihood. It's
Yeah.
gone. It's
Right, yeah,
gone.
that's
Yeah.
it.
And I'm not trying to knock off the guy who took over his promotion after that, but a certain somebody was there just to sell tickets, and he threw him the strap, threw him everything, and he was only a year in and calling the shots, and some it gets like that sometimes, and
It's it's it's
I
not.
even knew I knew a couple I knew a guy who he only trained a few months here, a few months there, but he never spent a full month, a whole year paying his dues and all that stuff. Again, he was just another ticket seller. The promoter didn't care. He threw him the strap, and like you said, you forget these moves are what they call fake. But you land someone the wrong way one time, that guy might never walk again. It's in your
Ever.
hands.
It's
Exactly,
in
exactly.
It's in your
That's
hands.
that was the first thing that I was taught is you got to take care of the guy who takes care of you.
Right. I
If
mean,
you both, it's a symbiotic relationship, dude. I'm trying to come
Yep.
back and do this thing again. Now, if it's a straight up shoot, if excuse me, guys, if it's a straight up shoot, okay, you know what? Don't do that in the ring. You know what? Meet me out in the parking lot.
mhm.
See
Exactly.
me after the
I
show.
I
See
think
me at the show.
I
Don't
think
even do it in the locker room because we
mhm,
still in the presence of everybody else. We got heat with each other. Let's go out in that parking lot and we can talk this thing out.
mhm.
But if
I
you
think,
know, or do whatever you want to do.
believe it or not, the best advice I was ever given was by Scott Dr. Ice, Scotty Ice. Believe it or not, he actually gave me the best advice ever. He said, "Listen, you're in there with a veteran. You let them call the match. You sit there,"
Absolutely.
and he's like, "You sit there and you keep quiet." He's like, "Believe it or not," he's like, "I've been down there in Nashville with William
Mm,
Regal, and some rookie came in and said, 'We're going to do this, that, this, that, and this, that,'"
I've heard
and
this
Regal
story.
went, "Okay, sunshine. Okay, sunshine. Okay,
Yeah, no
sunshine."
problem. Yeah, we'll
Oh,
do that.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, and Regal went, "Okay, sunshine. Okay," and he says the minute they went for a lockup, Regal grabbed his arm and popped his elbow the other way, and he said he walked out the ring. So I was always told. So whenever I got in there and did, as me as a greenhorn, committed working, for Bundy, I really want to learn the craft. Mike will tell you, I spent um, summer of summer of '05, and all I did, I went from 250 to 185, and all I did was run still because Bundy sat us all down before. And he said, if you guys want to be in this ring, you want to look like wrestlers, start training like wrestlers, get attire like wrestlers, get
Mhm.
yourself some gear. He's like, because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
a crew,
Chris was
so the
pretty serious about all that.
my first gear was a white beater and squishy pants, and he said
Yeah.
And
What the
Bundy
fuck
said,
is that? What are you wearing?
Bundy went like this, come here, young man. He said,
Pretty
me
much.
and Angel Gonzalez. He said, the three of us, and me and this guy Chino James. He quit within a month anyway. He said,
I'll be like, get the
"See, if you
fuck
guys
out of
want
my
to come,
gym.
you guys want to look at wrestlers, get yourself in shape and just get some proper attire, because or else you won't be in my ring." So
That's the one thing about these trainers. Trainers, they supposed to
Not just school the
weed
guys in the ring, but
weed
everything else
out
outside.
what is supposed to weed out the weak.
mhm.
You're supposed to cut those dudes off. If you can't cut it, you gotta go. I'm not trying to just take your money because, like you said, the business is fed by the guys that are in the business. If you're no good to me, I can't eat off of you. You can't eat off of me if we're not any good for each other. So you got to go your own way. You guys got to go. What the hell are squishy pants? I was wondering that too, bro.
There's Adidas,
Right.
Like the basketball shorts.
No.
But
Adidas.
what you was saying there is it reminds me of a story when I took Flash Wheeler with me over to Jersey. Flash Wheeler was my tag team partner. We go over to Jersey and we're going up against the Headbangers. I knew these cats before they were the Headbangers. I knew them when they were the Blackhearts. Okay, I knew the kids. I knew those guys before they went to the WWF. Okay, and became the Headbangers, and they were the Blackhearts. So we're over in Jersey. I'm dapping up the guy, saying hello, what's going on? He go put his bag down, go sit down. Okay, that's one mistake. And then he looks up at the board and he sees who's working. And this is a Carluzzo show. He says, "Oh, we got the Headbangers." So he goes over to them and instantly, guys, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. And I like to do this, and I'm sitting next to them. They both looked at me, and I go, just like this. They said, "Okay, Flex. Okay." They said, "All right, we got it. He was like, "All right." So he's going to go put on his gear. As I'm sitting down with them, they look over to me. They say, "You come in, start with us. You toss us around a little bit, do this, do that. Tag out, let him in. Don't tag back. When he reaches to tag you, don't tag him." I said, "You guys got it. Dude, they absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah.
Destroyed him. One of them took his thumb, and stuck it straight up his ass.
Wow.
Okay, he bent them over and jammed his thumb straight up his ass. Every time he went to reach for me for a tag, I would go like this, shake my head, turn away, look at the crowd, work the crowd. He finally tags me out. I get in, do an arm whip, get one of them down, 1, 2, 3, and they go to kick out, and then they don't kick out. They say, "Just hold me," and then they go to kick out. I hold them, and we won the match. We get in the back. He's crying. He's screaming at me. He said, "Why'd you let them do that to me?" I said, "The one thing that you don't ever do, and especially when you with me, because you represent me."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You run with my last name." I said, "The one thing that you don't ever do is come into a locker room and tell veterans what you want to do. Don't you ever do that."
Yeah.
I said, "They just taught you a lesson."
Mm-hmm. Flex, I was pretty much in the same predicament. I was at ACPW, and I was working the Nigerian Nightmares, and my tag team partner.
Oh my God, you worked them. Oh.
Yeah. Well, here's the blessing of all this. So my tag team partner comes right out the chute, goes, "Yeah, I'm a backyarder." So
God.
So
what the fuck?
So the best, like I said, so here's the blessing.
It's going to be like, really?
So here goes the blessing to all of it. So Kwame comes up to me. Kwame goes, "Frizzo, who you working?" I said, "I'm working on Nightmares." She goes, "Follow me." He takes me over there and he goes, "Listen, this is my boy here. take care of him. He's like, the other one you could beat the piss out of, but this is my boy here, so please take care of him. So I'm working, Aaron, God rest his soul. I'm working Aaron. It's going smoothly. He goes, all right, tag your boy in.
God rest Aaron's soul, man. That hurt me when he passed.
He goes, tag your boy in. I tagged him in. It was like watching a zebra getting fed to the lions. I was just
and bro, if they want to work stiff, oh my God, if they want to hit you stiff, ain't shit you can do about it. Ain't nothing. I refuse to work those guys. They used to say, "Hey, Flexx, you want to work?" Nope. Nope. Because their finisher was crazy. They had a couple of finishes, but they had the one where the one gets up to the top rope and the other one grabs the other one's arms and then flips over on top of you.
Yeah, with a senton then.
With a senton. Oh my God. I was like, nah. I like me.
Yeah.
I love some meat.
I think me and JoJo worked them probably about 3 or 4 times in matches. And we loved it every time. We just because we were all big boys. So we all just beat the piss out of each other. That's all it was. It was like, all right, let's go out and have some fun, guys. All right. Woohoo.
And when they come into a locker room, man, you knew they were there. When they would come into a locker room, they were always late. Everywhere I was at, they were always coming in late. Damn near the show is either about to start or it already started. They're coming in late, but you knew they was there.
The funny part about it is like when you're green, when the guys are green in there, and you see these 2 big guys coming in, you only know what you see through the curtain or what you heard about. But these 2 were 2 genuinely nicest, most humblest guys I could ever meet in my life forever. And when you're in the locker room with them, not out there in the curtain where everyone can see you, when you're in the back there, we just laughing it up, telling jokes, telling stories, this and that. And then the green
that's the only thing I really miss about the business is the locker room. I miss the locker room. Dave, I miss the locker room. The locker room is the best.
Yeah, the thing is,
100% agree.
You got to have when it depends on the promoter. I would say the locker room. When they're smart enough not just to book talent for talent, just because guys do whatever bullshit in the ring, but you got to have a great locker room that everyone gets along. They're all there. They're all there to protect each other, no matter what. And then you all have a great hell of a time. And Joey is in the chat room, and he can agree with me when me and him talk about Grand Slam wrestling. When me and him worked up there, I to this day I still talk about them because I love those group of guys up there. It was nothing but we had the bestest times. We had so much fun up there. It was like nothing I done before. I worked for a lot of other companies too, but these group of guys up there, hands down, like even after I got hurt, they welcomed me with open arms to say, "Hey, keep coming back. We're gonna use you as a manager." And instead of kicking me to the curb, and to this day, I still talk to the owner, John Salinas. Me and him, we exchange messages back and forth constantly about random dumb shit sometimes.
But that's good though. That's good that you have that.
But she was right though.
I think Joey got to go though.
Joey,
my
man.
But
great to see you, brother.
I mean, that's another good point you bring up too, Chio, because I spent a lot of years with ACPW, and Charles Gregory was the leader of that locker room. I mean, once Ron Starr handed over the bookings to Charles, he took care. He told you for the door, if you're gonna act like a superstar, you need to leave this locker room because there ain't no superstars here.
Another good guy. Two good names you just named: Ron Starr, Charles Gregory. Just stand-up guys. Charles don't take no shit off of nobody.
No.
Charles, he don't take no shit. Not even off of me. No shit. He ain't taking it. He ain't trying to hear it. He don't give a shit.
You know what's kind of funny?
And he'll tell you straight up.
Speaking of
Right.
Ron Starr, speaking of Ron Starr, I had a conversation with Danzar not about maybe a year or two ago, and I believe I talked to Ron as well. I said, look, guys, I said, if anything ever happens to me and I somehow no longer is in this world, I said, I want you two brothers to preach at my sermon. I want you to. Daddy. And like they're like, oh, don't be talking like that. No, I'm not trying to talk like that, but I don't want my family to just go and pick any pastor from any church that I go to. No, I want two brothers that I know that who I love in this business to speak on my behalf, and that can do me justice. And I said, used to, hands down, DJ Danzar and Ron Starr. That's my two guys.
You mean cruiserweight Ron Starr now?
Yes.
Ron looking like me around this joint. But one last story, guys, and then we gotta cut this.
Definitely.
My man Dave got to go to bed, and
it's Friday tomorrow. Yeah, last day of the week.
It's what I was telling kids about taking your gear to a show. I'm not telling you to bring it in nobody's locker room, because if you insulted me by bringing your gear into a locker room and I didn't book you, believe me, I'm gonna throw all your shit out my locker room and what you with it. So don't come into somebody's locker room if you're not booked on the show with your gear, but have it in your car. But case in point, this is Tower City, PA. I was still a green horn. I not a green horn. I said 1 year in the business, and there was a show in Tower City, and it was a Dennis Carluzzo show, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go check this show out. So because I only live maybe 15 minutes from the place anyway, so I drive my car up there. I got my gear in the car. Excuse me, gentlemen, and I walk into the locker room, and Tom Brandy's sitting there. And Tom Brandy, he and I knew each other from working other shows together. And he was like, hey, Flexx, what's going on? La, 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 la. And we're in the locker room. I say hello to everybody. And he says, what are you doing here? You booked? I said, no, I'm not booked. I just came to say what's going on. He was like, yeah, okay. He says, you got your gear with you? I said, yeah, I got my gear with me. He says, all right. He says, you know Dennis Carluzzo? I said, no, I don't know Dennis. So he goes, okay. As we're talking, Dennis Carluzzo walks in. He's kicking shit and he's cussing. He's like, what the fuck? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I can't fucking believe this shit. And he's just cussing up a storm and kicking stuff and throwing papers and stuff. And he looks over at me. He was like, and who the fuck are you? And I go, I'm Flexx Wheeler. He was like, Flexx Wheeler? I don't even know who the fuck is. And Tom Brandy stands up. He says, yo, Dennis, be cool. He's cool. He's with me. He's all right. He's a good kid. He's all right. He's like, all right. He says, so what's wrong? Why you out here cussing and all this stuff? What's going on? He said, fuck, Sabu's stuck in goddamn Denver. Sabu's in Denver. He got snowed in. He's stuck in. I just spent a whole lot of fucking money to get Sabu to come here tonight. That fucking house out there, there's a whole lot of people in that house. And they wanted to see Sabu. He's just going off. He's going nuts. Tom, this is why I love Tom Brandy to this day. Tom Brandy looks at me. He says, you got your gear, right? I was like, yeah. He says, Dan, who was Sabu going up against? He said, Chris Candido. Chris is about 15, 20 minutes out. He said, he'll be here. He's on his way. Yeah, he says, put Flexx with Chris. He said, that's the fucking main event. I don't know fucking kid. I don't know who this guy is. What the fuck are you talking about? Him with Chris Candido? You know Chris Candido is a champion of fucking Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Remember Smoky Mountain Wrestling, guys?
Yeah.
So he go, yeah, he's a champion of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He says, I can't fucking put this kid with. He said, get the fuck out of here. So he walks out, comes back. He's like, oh my God, I got 1,000 fucking people upstairs right now. They came here to see Sabu and Chris Candido, and I got nobody to go up against Chris Candido. Tom goes, I'm telling you, take this kid, take him now. He says he can do anything Sabu can do and better. He looks at it, he says, you got your fucking gear? I say, it's out, my guy. Go get your fucking gear. Put your fucking gear on. I swear to God, kid, I'm putting you with Chris Candido. If you fuck this up, your name will be fucking mine. Nobody, he's just he's going fucking off.
It sounds like Carluzzo. It sounds
he's fucking killing me. So he goes, Chris walks in, and he's like, Chris was the epitome of a guy who just loved everybody. Wonderful guy. Wonderful guy. God rest his soul. So he walks in, he's sitting down, he's talking to Brandy, and Brandy says, Chris, you got him tonight. He says, who? He says, hey, how you doing? He shakes my hand. He says, I'm Chris Candido. What do you do? He says, what do you do? I'm telling him I can do some aerial stuff. He says, okay. He says, you told me. He said, guess what? You're going over tonight. I said, he says, you're hometown boy, aren't you? You're hometown boy. I said, yeah, I don't live too far from here. He says, yeah, I said, but I wasn't on the card. Nobody knows. He says, I don't give a shit about that. He says, you're going over tonight. I said, Chris, you're the Smoky Mountain Wrestling champion. I said, I can't go over on you. He says, what are you being humble? Don't be fucking humble with me, buddy. He says, I don't want to hear about humble. He says, you're going over tonight. So Carluzzo walks in. He said, okay, Chris, you're over tonight. He says, no, he's going over there. He said, no, fuck if he's going over tonight. That fucking kid
really has fueled the fire.
Guy ain't going over tonight. He says, Sam, would have been going over tonight. He says, but that fucking kid over there ain't going over tonight. Not over on you. He says, that's the bottom line. So I'm sitting there. I said, okay, great. I don't go over. I'm great. Dude, we went out there and we brought the house down. We brought that roof down. We took it down. He didn't let me go over. He let me go over by disqualification. He did a fucking senton. He had me on the table. He says, just move. He does a senton over the ropes onto the table. I moved, and he crashed through the table, laid there. I get the 10 count on him, and I go over that way. He takes his belt. He says, Richard didn't win the belt. And he runs out. I chase him back out. He gives me this big, huge hug. And it was, one of the best feelings that I had ever had in the business. Get back down in the locker room. Brandy says, you did me proud. He says, you didn't fuck it up. He says, because Carluzzo would have killed us both and put us in a hole in the back of this building somewhere. He said, we would both be dead. He says, thank you. What I'm telling kids to this day, you never know when an opportunity comes. Mm-hmm. Carluzzo gives Chris his envelope, gives me an envelope. Sabu's name was on the envelope. I got Sabu's payday.
Must be a nice payday.
It was a nice payday. He said, and from that moment on, I had been working for Dennis Carluzzo, and God rest his soul, he took care of me very, very well. When you get not crowned, but if you get deemed one of Carluzzo's boys, his son will tell you to this day, he says, you were one of my dad's boys. He loved you. He really, really loved you. And I'll never forget Dennis Carluzzo because he put my name out there. He really did. But that's the moral of the story. You fucking kids out there, bring your gear. So be humble.
I'm glad you saved that amusing ass story for last, because that's a story you never ever told me once until now. I finally got to hear it.
Oh
So
man.
Beautiful story. That's
but
one
That
of
was
my best
great.
ones. That's one of my great stories. And like I said, Tom Brandy, that dude could he could walk on water. If he would call me today and say he need me for something, he would always get it because he was a guy who put me on the map also with a lot of guys. He put me on with Deeds. He put me on with Damien. He put me on with a lot of people. Dio. He put me on. And in this business, if you're not putting on a worker, a guy that you know who's supposed to be your friend, like Dave is my friend, I put him on with people. If you don't put them down with somebody and put them on, then you're not a worker. You got to take another guy with you and pull them up with you and put them down with somebody. If you don't put them down, you're not doing the business any kind of good service, especially if they're a good worker. Because I never had it. I was about to say I never had an ego in this business. We all have an ego in this business. But I never looked at another worker and say, "Oh, that dude outworked me, so I ain't gonna ever get him any work." Fuck him.
Right. Right. You know,
yeah.
and Flex, you bring a good point because just within your stores, there's so many that came to me, but like you said, you were just saying about bringing somebody on, like, for instance, Shaheem Ali.
Shaheem, I know a Shaheem.
So we were, I was good friends with him from ACPW, and I was getting my name out there to like the WWAs and the SWS or Venture Outlook. I told him, I said, why don't you come with me one of these days? I'm like, they pretty much use you. I said, they need talent out there, and they're always looking to put somebody on. And I said, those smaller venues, they draw, and I got them
Small
on there.
venues always draw. I like a
Mm-hmm.
small venue. Small
Mm-hmm.
venues draw
Small
like a
venue,
motherfucker.
I personally like the small, well, not even small venue, just the fact that small redneck towns.
Right.
They're the ones I like because
Definitely those.
because there's
You got
always
to
a
call the state police to come get you, escort you out of there, and I'm done. I swear.
That's how you know
Jim
you're
Thorpe,
doing good.
I worked in
because every
Jim
time
Thorpe once, and
I would say every time
they had to call the state police.
I would say every time you look out in the front row, it's always some huge chick with some guy with no teeth. Always in the front row.
yeah.
Oh, Joel, there's wrestling.
Wait,
And Flash, you brought up like I said, I was listening to your story. Another thing that aggravates me, like, okay, I get like there's fans that like want to be around the locker room, but I hate when they take the manager role.
Yeah.
If you did not pay your dues, do not come nowhere near the show because don't step on the other side of the guardrail because you're going to get yourself.
Dave was telling me the other day that I should manage, and I don't want to bump anymore. I'm not a bumper. I don't do any more bumps or anything like that. He says, "Oh, you don't have to," but I'm from the old school where a manager bumps. And a manager's got to take a bump. If you're going to be out there with the boys, you got to take a bump. So I'm that old school that I would never get in the ring and manage somebody because I'm going to have to bump. And a lot of promoters let marks get away with that because the mark probably bought a book of tickets and they're giving them a shot to be out there. But dude, if you're not bumping, you don't have any business around that ring. I am sick and tired of promoters and trainers allowing marks to become something that they did not train themselves to be, first of all, or they do not know what Carney and the kayfabe is about. Our job as professional wrestlers, as workers, was to make the illusion that person who was sitting on their couch watching me from TV or that person who was sitting in the chairs could not do what I did. They're not, and they can't do what I do.
You know, it's funny though. The one thing I hate about mark managers is like when one opponent throws the other one to the outside or put them on the ropes or whatever, and they're giving them these cheesy ass shots or kicks that don't mean anything. That like there's no effect of whatsoever. Is like, what the hell are you doing? Like, stop it! Just don't touch it.
It's like the fans are supposed to buy this.
My favorite ones like you were talking about, Flex, about Chris pointing you over. Well, I was working Devin Moore, and Devin Moore's like, yeah, you'll go over. And the dude Loudy, when he made it sound like it was like a personal contract against him, he's like, no, he's like, Drew, he's like, when I went over, he's like, you beat Devin Moore. He's like, no one in the state of Pennsylvania could beat Devin Moore. And this is a market manager. He was like, no one could beat him. He's not supposed to lose in Pennsylvania. I'm like, and Drew's like, go over. But he was just like, he had like a fit, he's going around the HPW locker room. He's getting upset. And Breaker cracks me. He's like, Frizzo, just pull your pants down and let this guy take care of you. He's like, oh my God. I said, geez, Breaker.
Yeah, the business. Like I say, I think it's a lot of us who failed the business. Guys like us who are talking about the business and what we don't like about the business today. We dropped the ball. We failed the business because we didn't put our foot down and continue what came before us. We didn't continue it. Some of us didn't have the power. When Vince opened up the books and opened up the internet and let everybody know that the business is what it is, that wasn't our control. But when a certain somebody, one-eyed somebody, and another guy put on hoods, and they went and did a video, and they showed everything that we do you know what I'm talking about, Dave.
I know the people you're talking about.
And they went and told everything and made a video on it, and people started buying, and they messed up the business. Us as workers, we were supposed to shun them. They should have never, ever got booked ever again.
Until this day, there's
somebody should have broke. Yeah, and to this day, they're still getting booked, and somebody should have broke their legs and ended their career. Honestly, but I look at professional wrestling, what we do as professional wrestlers, as like the mafia. Honestly, this is our thing. It's our thing. It's not everybody else's thing. It's not even the smart marks, because the marks are who we get to pay our bill. We work them, and it's a work. We work them to get money from them. They're not supposed to be involved in what we do other than be a mark and be a fan and pay our bills. But our job is to make them comfortable enough and entertained enough to want to just give that money away freely. And we lost our way. That's my opinion. I know a lot of guys who say you don't know what the fuck you talking about, Flexx. You don't know
what the fuck you're talking about, Flexx.
And when I walked away from the business, I walked away totally and freely and said, you know what, I left a mark. Hopefully some other guys can pick up from where I left off and just keep it going. But I'm a little disappointed. Especially the indie circuit, because there was a lot of guys, like when I worked up in Allentown, against Sean and those guys.
Yeah,
they had this guy called Luca Brazzi up there. When you got, I know Luca. These guys get egos, and they, you was in the business 24 years and you ain't do nothing. And this, you hear what I'm saying? Because
it's funny though. It's funny though that you brought him up, because him and his partner, South Philly's Finest, like years ago when I met them.
They were humble as fuck.
Well, no, how you said ego and stuff. It was the reputation that went around that I heard from a lot of people. But as time passed on, and I literally got to know them till this day, to this very day, they are actually very, very humble as humble as fuck right now. Like two of the greatest cats that I know in the business.
Cool. Like, then they've changed. And anybody can change. I used to run around. I trained Billy Reel. I've trained.
Don't even get me started with him.
Trent Acid, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Missy Hyatt. Not Missy Hyatt. Missy
Sampson.
Sampson. Missy Sampson, that's my little sister. Missy Sampson's my little sister. She took chops from me. She took ass whoopings from me because I wanted to make sure she really wanted it. Down at Hawkins gym, she used to come into Hawkins gym. I used to beat the living shit out of her, and she'll tell you this to this day that she holds me in reverence because I did that to her and made her really want the business, really want to be in the business. And when I ran into like Billy Reel, I lost him as a friend because this is stupid. Yeah, what I'm about to tell you guys is absolutely stupid. Billy Reel, when Trump became president, Billy Reel called me. I was in Nicaragua when Trump became president. I flew back from Nicaragua to Pennsylvania to vote and I voted for Hillary Clinton, but Trump won. I flew back to Nicaragua. Billy Reel calls me in Nicaragua and says, "Hey, Flexx, guess what? Trump won. And guess why? Because you didn't book me on such and such and such a show." But, thank you, Pat. Thank you, brah. Thank you. On such and such and such a show back in such and such as I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? And the egos that I've dealt with, and believe me, you have to have an ego to be in professional wrestling. If you don't have an ego, if you don't have a self-confidence, you ain't gonna make it in the business. It is what it is. You have to have that ego. You have to have that self-awareness. You have to have that self-confidence in yourself that you can get up in the ring and you can do these things and nobody else can do them. You have to have that to be able to be a success in the business. But when your ego transcends reality, dude, you're no good for anybody. And I see that a lot in the business now. It's just bad. I mean, it happened before I even got out of the business and while I was still in the business. It's just a lot of guys. It's very, very their egos. I get you got an ego, but it's not a reality. Your ego is unrealistic.
All right, and I got a funny story for you real fast, and so
make it fast because we're pushing the 3-hour mark.
Hey, listen,
pushing 3 hours.
Look, I'm feeling like I'm in the locker room now. So
yeah,
I'm at for ACPW. So Johnny Greco, I'm not Johnny Greco. Who's it? Casco. I forget. He was the commissioner anyway. But anyway, this other guy took over commissioner. Like he calls my phone on Tuesday. I'm at work. I hear, whoa. He's like, "This is Johnny Cisco, and I'm the ACPW commissioner." And blah blah blah. And you're gonna wrestle. I'm like he's talking like we're like on camera. I'm like, I looked on my phone, and went. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, I'm at work. I'm like, you're gonna sit there.
Unrealistic, just totally unrealistic.
But he's another. Like another fan who got got in the ring and should have never been in the ring.
It's one thing to be in gimmick, and I've heard this about Flair that he's in gimmick 24 hours a day, but when you just continuously and Warrior was like that too. When you're continuously, when you're living that gimmick, dude, that's bad. That's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I've heard of a few guys. One time I've heard Mick Foley said that Vince was like that for a while. Like his character in the ring didn't change outside of the ring, and it was kind of like got to a point like, Vince, we're not in the ring anymore. You can drop it.
But he's the boss. He can do what the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
When you're a billionaire and your company is on the market, I mean, what I mean by the market is that you're on the stock exchange and you got investors. You can do what the fuck you want. I don't like it. Believe me, I don't like Vince. I don't like anything that company does. I don't like shit. But if they drop a contract in front of me today, I'm right there.
Oh man, so
I want to say congratulations, Flexx. You are the first person to put us right there almost at the 3-hour mark. So you're in the lead of anyone we ever had on the show.
Hold on, brother, because I'm going to make that 3 hours.
Oh,
I'm gonna make that 3 hours.
I'm looking at it right there. We're just like a minute away. So to cover that minute mark, do you have any
Dave, you
final
and I are
words?
going to be zombies tomorrow.
You shut the hell up. I'm trying to get a final word out of him. I can go to fuck the bed. You can do all the talking you want on Sunday, Mikey. Shut up right now.
The only thing I got to say is I appreciate you guys letting me be a soundboard. The business is still the business. It's still out there. It's just changed. I went through 3 decades of the business, almost 3 decades, 3 different, and I've seen it how it changed from its garish costumes to nothing today. You know, when guys are wearing damn near nothing and going out in jeans and shit. So it's still a business. It's different people just watching it today. It's not something that I can watch though. I can't watch it. But I love it. I still love it. I will tell you that I love the business that didn't love me back. And that's all I can say. And I'm not talking about the fans. It's just the business itself. I love the business that did not love me back.
I know. I definitely want to get you back on the show. And since you don't watch the current business,
no, I don't.
What we will do on maybe one of our morning shows, we can all do our homework. I think Joey Image will be up for this too as well. If we pick, will it even Flex pick an old school show, or if he finds something on YouTube like an entire show or something like that, or anything somewhere that we can all watch separately and then come back and discuss. Like, I'm just gonna throw it out there for instance. Let's say we all go watch the very first WrestleMania and we can pick it apart.
No, honestly,
or if there's another pay-per-view.
What's your best WrestleMania? Honestly, what's your best WrestleMania?
Oh, my best WrestleMania. Holy shit.
That's a tough one.
I only got 2.
I know.
Are you talking about matches or pay-per-view? The whole pay-per-view.
The whole pay-per-view. I only have 2.
Man.
Oh, jeez.
Damn, I have to look back at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say a toss-up between WrestleMania 7, which the main event was Hogan versus Slaughter, and the other one would have to be. It's gonna have to be an earlier one, like an early one. I'm gonna say 5 when it was Hogan and Macho Man in the main event as well.
Impactful for me was 3.
I got mine.
And when Yokozuna beat Hart and Hogan beat Yokozuna, those are impactful, just totally impactful. For me, because
I'm gonna have to say 3. For my second, I'd have to go back. Jeez.
I got 2. There goes mine. And 1 is 3. 3 is because you obviously got Savage and Steamboat. Then you have the ultimate sellout pay-per-view of Hogan and Andre. That will never be duplicated. Then I'm gonna have to go a little bit more modern day of WrestleMania 20 of Undertaker dropping the whole biker gimmick and coming back to his dead man gimmick and working like the MSG was popping like crazy for that. And the triple threat match I enjoyed of Triple H, Michaels, and Benoit. I thought that was a solid 3-way match. So I think that would probably be my 2 as far as
the ending of WrestleMania 20 was the best. The ending when Guerrero and Benoit were standing in the ring together and the confetti was coming down and both of them as champions.
Yeah.
That'd
be mine.
So
that's a classic moment.
So yes, Flex, you made us the 3-hour mark. Pat, shut the hell up. I want to go to bed now.
All right, you got me talking about it.
All right.
Guys, y'all go to bed, please.
All right.
because I could do this all night. Actually,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Some people don't got
I,
work.
all four of us could sit here and talk wrestling forever.
But yeah, once again, it was a pleasure and honor. I'm glad. I'm
My
glad
pleasure,
to.
brother.
I'm glad to share. I'm glad I had the opportunity to not only share the locker room with you, share drives with you, share the ring with you. Hell, I even crashed at your place before too. We broke
Yes, you have.
so
Yes, you have.
so.
Yes, you have.
Thank you for all your contributions. And I hope the wife don't kill you for staying up so late with us guys.
She's with me. She's the best. I'm gonna tell you, I've been married a lot, and this is the best one yet. I'm telling you, she's the best ever. Yeah.
All right. We're definitely gonna have to do this again sometime. Get you on another one of our shows, and we'll figure something out. We'll figure out a nice topic that we all can jump on. Something old school. We'll keep it old school for Flexx Wheeler.
Please do.
We have
because
not only an old school sports, but now we got old school wrestling. I love it.
Shut up, Pat.
Yeah.
Because I definitely don't. I don't know anything about what's going on today in pro wrestling. Really, I don't. I couldn't even tell you.
You see, that's just trying to make
Indy.
us feel old still. Yeah.
Even with Indy, I just don't know.
Shut up, Mikey.
I won't do it.
Damn, I feel like my dad's in the room.
The last, actually, I did like that Owen. I watched one of his matches and I love him. What's that kid in the WWE? Owens.
Oh, Kevin
Oh,
Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Love him.
Yes,
Love
he's
him.
really great. For
Love
a guy
him.
his size, yes, he can really go.
Watched him a couple of times and I liked him.
And they had that new kid.
And I think he's underutilized.
Well, him and they had that new kid, Austin Theory. He's going to be the future of WWE. That kid is.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
So if you haven't been watching it and you just happen to catch a glimpse of it, try to keep your eye on that kid. If something pops up online, fine, I'll just send you clips. Whatever.
No, you won't. Because if you send me clips, I won't open them just for that.
All right. Once again, thank you one more time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And I'll definitely get you back on the show here. I'm gonna do my closing remarks. But
Flexx, we got Joey Image here. We got Mike Slayer here. We got everybody here.
Wow, I don't got Slayer here. I had Joey here.
No, but I mean Slayer as far as being on the.
Yeah, old school guys. Yeah. So, all right, Flexx. Thanks for coming on once again. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir, brother. And thank you very much. And body slams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. Good night.
You too.
Good night.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that was our first ever 3-hour show. It wasn't a 3-hour tour like Gilligan's Island, but it was a 3-hour show with Indy vet Flexx Wheeler in the house. I appreciate everything he has contributed to the business and stuff like that. And you can tune in if you're tuning in late or you're going to catch the replay of this. Don't forget, this coming Sunday at 11 a.m., Breakfast and Body Slams, we will definitely be talking NXT War Games predictions. So I don't know if our man Pat wants to jump in on that or not. He's more than welcome to. All right. Well, we're going live at 11, and then we got the Eagles game at 1 o'clock, and then the pay-per-view later on that night. So I don't know if anyone else knows. I showed this earlier. Got the Thursday Night Slam shirt.
That's pretty hot. That's a hot item.
That is sweet.
I'm like, I got my Breakfast and Body Slam shirts. I got my dedicated Run DMC type shirt, BSP, Body Slams Podcast comp. That one there. I got the pop-up pipe bomb shirt. And I'm waiting for
Nice.
my OnlyFans parody shirt to get printed and come in too. Let's say Body Slams podcast.
Now, where's Dennis' belly shirt?
Huh?
Doesn't Dennis get a belly shirt?
Well, he wasn't
That's
here
my
to
guy.
defend himself. I didn't see him in the chat. I didn't see him in the chat room tonight. But
That's my
yeah, for anybody who wants any of these items that I am sporting or have on my table right now, go to bodyslamspodcast.com and check out our pod shop. There's one for Cafe Press and one for Teespring. Click on the spring one. This is the one where you can get all the newer updated stuff. I'm probably going to get away from the Cafe Press stuff though. So yeah, if you ever want to listen to any of our past shows, you can go on there too. Everything is pretty much will be up to date this coming weekend. We will tonight. This show will be on the playlist on YouTube as well. So yeah, you can see all our past shows, or if you're on the go, in the car, at the gym, you can listen on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and a host of other audio platforms to listen to. So, I'm Gio Frost, one of your analists here on Thursday Night Slam. I'd like to thank Mikey, the Saint Bernard, the better Bernard, and the Gobbler, Frankie Frizzo, Pat Bernard of the Gobbler Inc. show, which will be on Sunday at 9 a.m., followed up by the Combat Misfits at 10.
No more.
No more?
No more. No more. It's just Wednesdays now.
Oh, just wait. Okay, I can scratch them off my list. So the Gobbler at 9 and Breakfast of Body Slams at 11. You can check us all out. Thank you everyone for checking in on this long ass show.
Yes.
I apologize, but when we get to talking, we get to talking. I did not expect to have these two gentlemen jump in, but Flexx just wanted to keep talking, so we went with it. So maybe I should have had Dennis on this show. It would have went longer. So, all right, gentlemen. I don't know how that game went tonight. I'm sure Dallas won the way I was looking at the score. So screw them.
Yeah.
So. All right, we're out of here. Don't forget to check out BodySlamsPodcast.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe to all of our platforms. Hit the notification button so you know when we are on air. And we will definitely see you people at the matches. Goodbye. Thank you.
Peace out.